Highland Park wins the toss, will receive.
Season end in the playoff second round at the hands of the Waco Midway Panthers. Midway used a high-tempo offense and a relentless second-half ground attack to wear down the Scotties in a 35-28 win. Today, the Scots look for revenge on the sport's grandest stage. Good afternoon, everyone, from AT&T Stadium, which hosts this Class 6A Division II matchup between the Highland Park Scots and the Midway Panthers of Waco. I'm Brian Sutcliffe, along with the rest of the Game On Sports Productions crew. My partners in crime, Coach Eric Cunningham and the legendary Miles Dunklin. The Scots earned this rematch after beating Nimitz 38-12 in what was also a battle renewed from the 2014 playoffs. Coach Cunningham, the Scots have had this potential matchup in their sights for quite a long time.
They sure have. I mean, obviously, when you look up and you see how the pairings could shake out, the Scots knew if they won the district championship, they suspected that Midway would win the district championship, setting up this second round game that they have had circled on their calendar for a whole year. They have been so excited about this opportunity. They took one on the chin to a very talented Midway team last year, and I know that they are extremely excited about this opportunity in front of them today.
Miles, talking to the staff this week, there was an incredible amount of focus on the pace we expect to see from the Midway offense today.
Yeah, absolutely. They're multifaceted, but what they really do is run a lot of plays. They ran 106 plays against the Scots last year, and there was a real emphasis this week on controlling that pace. They really want to slow them down, and that's going to be a big task today. This is a very talented Midway Panther football club.
The Scots offense will get the first look of the football in this area round matchup. Number 35, sophomore Paxton Alexander, seeing his first varsity action of the season. And you can't imagine, he would have thought he'd be getting his first looks in this critical stage. The kick is in the air. We're underway. Stephen Deeb will take it at the 3-yard line. It's on from AT&T. Deeb taken down inside the 10-yard line on a fantastic special teams play by freshman linebacker James Fulbright.
Pretty stout right there for a freshman, I'll tell you. Deeb had one man to miss. Unfortunately, he was not able to do that. Looked like they had a little wall set up there for him on the left side, but a nice play right there by number 42 from Midway.
The Highland Park offense led by senior captain Henry Allen, who's 170 for 277, a 61% completion percentage for just over 2,160 yards, 21 touchdowns against 9 interceptions. The Scots offense averaging nearly 375 yards per game and just over 35 points. They'll start 1st and 10 from their own 7-yard line. Waco Midway's defense allowing just over 28 points per game. Stephen Deeb, the lone setback. Allen looking for a hole up the middle, but he won't find it as he is blasted by senior defensive lineman Anthony Flowers.
And that's obviously not a great start for the Scots as they're moving their way backwards, and they have a pretty good idea what Midway is going to be doing defensively today. It's going to be a soft man coverage where they play man across the board. In the secondary, the 3 linebackers drop deep, and the 4 defensive linemen rush forward. And so HP really needs to win on the outside with their receivers against this man coverage.
Starting wide receivers, J.T. Dooley, Kemp Sauer, Chris Buell, and Jeff Cupp. Put Cupp into motion from the left edge. They'll put him on the right side. Allen steps back. He'll fire wide open. The pass is caught. Kemp Sauer has a first down, out of bounds just beyond the 35-yard line. Nice pitch and catch from Allen to Sauer.
Outstanding play call right there. They run the play action right there. Then they send Sauer all the way across the field. Very difficult to defend that play. Henry Allen puts it on the money, and that is a big-time pickup for a first down for the Scots to get them out of their own end zone.
Pickup of 28 and a first down, 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. First possession of the game. Scots approaching midfield. On the counter, there's Deeb. He's hit in the backfield, slowed up. He does everything he can just to get back to minimize the loss. It'll be a loss of about 1.5 yards back to the 34. Miles, you can introduce these offensive line starters for us.
Yeah, it's Thomas Shellmeyer, the sophomore left tackle. He's been outstanding this year. Harrison Mursky's done a great job, the junior at left guard. Jack Sides gets everything lined up front, the senior captain. Then Gray Giddens, the junior at right guard. And then Carson Yeager, student body president, playing right tackle after being moved from right guard this year.
Loss of 2 on the play, 2nd and 12 from the 34. Allen with the play fake. He'll roll the pocket to the right. Lob a pass, which is caught. This time it's on the right sideline.
That's Kemp again.
Kemp Sauer with 2 big catches to move the chains on this first drive of the contest.
Miles, you touched on the fact that Midway is going to play a soft man coverage on the edge, but I talked to a couple of the offensive coaches for the Highland Park staff, and they said their defense goes as their front 7 goes. You know, those guys with their hands on the ground, and in addition to that linebacking core, are very talented. Again, they've got talented corners as well, but that front 7 is the core of their entire team.
Kemp Sauer has over 40 yards receiving on this first touch of the football. 1st and 10 from midfield. Throw to the slot quickly. It was intended for Jeff Cupp, but through his hands and incomplete. Good pressure there by the Panther, as it is designated in this Midway defense. Christian Davis, SMU bound, also had offers from Illinois and Northwestern. So a lot of talent on both sides of the football here,
Yeah,
Mike.
absolutely. This is a really good team. They don't have the same Division I talent they had on the team last year with an OU pledge, a Baylor wide receiver, but this is a really good front 4, like you said, Coach Cunningham, and the Scots need to get that ground game established early, and you can tell that Midway definitely trying to take that away and make Henry Allen beat him with his arm.
2nd and 10 from the same 47. They'll roll the pocket to the left this time, and Allen will try to find the edge. He'll pick up about half of what he needed for the first down, and the Scots will be faced with a 3rd down and manageable with just under 10 minutes remaining in the first.
You know, I like what Henry did right there. There was just nothing there. It looked like it could have been a design run call, but he picks up what he can, gives himself a manageable 3rd down. Now, obviously, you don't want to be set in that 3rd and 10, 3rd and long situation all day long.
This is the 100th 3rd down conversion opportunity for the Highland Park offense, and we'll say hello for the first time in the game to number 15, the senior Kyle Burnett. 6'3", 205 pounds, and Miles, we expect Burnett to be a big piece of this Scots offense today. 3rd down and 5. Double play fake. Allen steps up in the pocket. He'll throw. The pass is low and incomplete. It was intended for Jeff Cupp. And in 3rd down, it'll be 4th down and 5 from the 42-yard line. We'll see what the Scots will like to do.
An interesting play call right here on 4th down. Again, they've made their way all the way into Midway territory, but you're kind of in no man's land. I suspect that Coach Allen's going to roll the dice right here. He's been leading the charge as far as looking forward to this football game for a long time. I know he's seen Midway himself a couple of times. He is thrilled to have this opportunity.
And that quick kick is something they also have in their back pocket with this formation.
And that is what we will see as Allen boots away. There's no one back to field it for Midway, so the Scots should be able to down this inside the 5, and that's exactly what they will do. It will be killed inside the 2. So a nice special teams play as the captain, Jack Sides, is the man trucking down the field to put it to rest. And that will send the high-powered Midway offense onto the field, averaging over 528 yards and nearly 45 points per game in their last 3 contests, 644 yards per contest, and 51 points. They'll be led by the senior quarterback, Sam Glazman, over 2,500 yards through the air, 23 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Also dangerous on the ground. He's run for over 560.
Yeah, and he's committed to Rice, but it all starts up front with Eric Claiborne, very talented running back.
Ball is on the ground. The Scots are going to scoop it up in the end zone. Touchdown, Scots!
John House got it.
What a start.
John House had a pick 6. He possesses both Scott's defensive touchdowns of the season, and the Scots have struck first.
Boys,
a defensive touchdown with 9:28 left in the first.
Unbelievable sequence of events. Let's start with the fact that Henry Allen puts a perfect punt on the board. The ball's able to get punched out of there, and look at the Scotties all over it, and John House with the recovery.
And Coach Cunningham, it was John House with his right hand that knocked that ball out of there, and he completes the trifecta with the scoop, the score, and the fumble recovery. Outstanding play by John House. He's been leading the charge for this defense all year, the junior, with a huge play to start this game on defense for the Scotties.
Some smart football gives the Scots the 6-0 lead as Will Moore will come on to attempt the PAT. HP electing not to go for it from the Midway 42-yard line on 4th and 5. They punt it inside the 2-yard line, and that's why you call that kind of play, because you know that a turnover can result in points. And that's what the Scots have with 9:28 left in the first. They lead Midway 7-0.
I mean, what a start. You couldn't ask for anything better. And if you were a defensive player, I mean, can you ask for anything more? First play of the game on defense, not only do you strip the football out, but you also recover it for the touchdown. Outstanding job by John House and this defensive bunch to pick up their teammates. What a start for the Scots.
That puts the Scots into the plus side of the turnover margin column. They were even on the season with 16 takeaways and 16 giveaways. The 17th takeaway of the season is a big one here at AT&T Stadium. It gives the Scots a 7-0 lead. John House had that pick 6 against Richardson in the regular season finale. That was the first defensive score for the Scots all season long. They now have 2 in their last 3 games.
One of the keys that I was going to touch on is obviously the Scots getting off to a great start, and really I think not just getting off to a great start, but the first and the third quarters are key in tonight's football game, this afternoon's football game. Obviously the Scots last year played a great first half. The second half, unfortunately, just kind of got punched in the mouth over and over, and Midway was able to really run the football down their throats. So the Scots have to get off to a good start, which they've now done, and then they've got to really have an outstanding third quarter to maintain any momentum they pick up in the first half.
Eric Claiborne and Day Walker are dangerous return man, but they'll both watch it as Will Moore puts it into the end zone for a touchback.
Yeah, that was Hubbard kicking off for the Scotties as he's done all year, and Hubbard is a tremendous weapon. You could see Midway anticipating that ball to land about the 5 or 10 yard line, and they obviously haven't scouted Jackson Hubbard very well. He does a tremendous job on the kickoffs.
Tell you, one thing to really make note of here defensively is out on the edge, Joseph Sweeney. He's going to have his hands full here today. He's manned up on the edge with number 9, I believe, and that is Joseph Ward, who's a very impressive receiver, as we have a flag and a false start call against Midway.
Yeah, and Coach, when you look at the numbers for Joseph Ward, they are tremendous. 82 catches, 1,241 yards, 15 touchdown grabs, and that is a gaudy number for this group, and so Joseph's going to have his hands full. Expect that the Scots, if Joseph Ward gives them some trouble, for Joseph Sweeney to travel with him.
Good play by House.
Here's Claiborne is taken down in the open field by Mr. Solo Tackle, John House. Midway puts so much pressure on the defense because they're so solid at all 3 key positions. You've got Sam Glaseman, the quarterback, over 3,000 total yards and 24 scores. Eric Claiborne, over 1,100 rush yards, and you can see this is the MO for the Panthers. They go quickly. Glaseman has a first down and more into the secondary before Matthew Bard sits on him as they breach midfield.
I think he might be a little bit banged up after that tackle.
Yeah, he's getting up slowly.
And not a lot of time for us to get our points in, Coach Cunningham, here with the way this offense runs their up-tempo, and you can see the wheels.
I talked to a couple of defensive coaches as well, and they said, boy, if you're a color commentary guy, you better get ready because you're not going to have a whole lot of time to talk.
Glaseman back in the backfield after that 33-yard pickup. He'll roll to the right, dump it short. There's Ward as he has his first catch. Trying to get that yard after catch going for Joseph Ward, who had 12 catches for 154 yards and a touchdown against Garland in the Panthers' 41-20 win last week. Now the Owls gave Midway a game for about a half and then were really blown out as the second half was largely non-competitive. After a pickup of 12, it's a first down. Slinging to the edge very quickly as there's Treston Womack. Has the catch. He's across the 30-yard line.
Most of everyone here obviously is aware of the fact that Midway comes up from Waco, Texas, and as you know, Waco is the home of Baylor University as well, and ironically, you know that Midway is going to run a lot of plays. They're going to go as fast as they can, very similar to the Baylor Bears They mimic their play after Baylor.
Second down and short. Glaceman will fling it to the left. Good block on the edge. That'll be good for a first down.
Well, here's the other thing about this Waco Midway team. Not only do they have outstanding skill position players, but they are big, physical, and athletic up front. This is the biggest offensive line and the best offensive line they've seen all year. And you know that group is in great shape with how many plays this team runs.
Gain of 13 and a first down. The tempo and Glaceman getting rid of the ball so quickly have not really given that really solid Highland Park defensive front a chance to make an impact on this first down, on this first drive of the contest for Midway.
Well, this is the one good thing for Highland Park is they played Pulaski Academy. They played Prosper. They played some really good teams that had similar features to what this Waco Midway team possesses. And this is kind of the best of all categories that they played this year, but they have seen teams like this.
Glaceman will look to throw out of an empty set on 2nd and 7. Zach Snelling gets upfield, then there's a block. And Glaceman decides just to pitch it into the cheerleaders. And it'll bring up 3rd down and 7 from the 11-yard line with 7:14 left in the first. Highland Park on a John House fumble recovery in the end zone has the Scotties leading 7-0.
Number 57 is the center for Midway. His name is Nick Sheldon, and he is definitely hurting right now. You can see his left arm is dangling, and that's a key point because Turner Cox has just played phenomenal football at nose guard for the Scots, number 60. And I want to see how well 57 can block Turner right now because he's playing with one arm.
Scots allowing opponents to convert 38% of the time on 3rd down. Fade pass right side of the end zone. It is incomplete. There's Joe Sweeney. Fantastic defense against Joseph Ward. And Midway will send on the field goal team.
Terrific coverage right there by Joe Sweeney, and this is why he has been such a superstar for the Scots all year. He's got tremendous ball skills. Right there you can see him go up. He's big, strong, physical, athletic. He can jump. Really nothing missing when you look at Joe Sweeney in terms of projecting him to the next level. He's got all the traits you want in Division I corner.
Jackson Smith is 14 for 18 on field goals. This will be about a 29-yarder. The kick is up, and it is good. So the Scots defense holds Midway to a trio with 7:06 left. HP will get the ball leading 7-3.
Boys, that's a big stop right there. I mean, again, if the Scots have that mentality of bend but don't break, they're going to give up some yardage. They're going to give up, I'm sure, a couple of touchdowns here today. If they can just keep it at that, I really like their chances to win this game. And I'll tell you this much. If they keep it at field goals all day, they're definitely going to win this game because it's going to be very difficult for Midway to hold down that Scott offense. But, again, really nice job defensively right there. They bent, but they didn't break, didn't give up the 7.
Yeah, Coach, and as always, the red zone is a big emphasis for Highland Park, not only on defense, but on offense. When they get into the red zone, they finish them off a lot of times this year with the run, Brian, but that's a big emphasis for them. They want touchdowns, not field goals.
A pair of teams coming into this one with long winning streaks. The Scots have won 9 straight. They are 10-1. District 10 6A champions with a 7-0 district record. The Midway Panthers have won their last 8. They are 8-3, 6-0 champions of District 12.
Quick touch in on here on Paxton Alexander, the younger brother of Parker Alexander, already committed to North Carolina as a sophomore to play lacrosse. He's a tremendous athlete, a jitterbug type. He's going to be a big-time player for the Scots going forward. But a big spot for him back there on kick return.
Joe Sweeney out to retrieve this kick as well.
And they kick it to Paxton.
And Paxton's going to get his first look. Got a bit of a seam. Look out. Alexander nearly hits the 30, so not a bad return.
I did all the JV Blue games this year, and I can tell you that Paxton Alexander is as exciting a player as the Scots have in their program. We're also going to see a little bit of number 8, Scully Genevine today, and potentially some James Herring, who's number 30. All 3 of those guys are sophomores. The Scots are expecting to help them out a little bit today.
6:59 left in the first. Scots leading at 7-3. Buell and Cup in on the left side of a 4-receiver look. Kemp Sauer and Jack Toohey on the right side. The single setback is Stephen Deeb. Deeb over 1,100 rushing yards, 17 touchdowns this year. Ball is on the ground as the Scots try to get some razzle-dazzle going. And Midway has it.
You know, that's one of the things that obviously is very concerning for the Scott coaches. You know, you want to be able to try to execute some plays that the opposing team doesn't see you do a whole lot. They haven't run a lot of reverses this year, but that's the risk you take is, you know, again, the execution factor. And Jeff Cupp, who has great hands, but he's not accustomed to taking the kind of a pitch type style or even a handoff. And unfortunately, the Scott defense has got their backs against the wall right here.
Zach Haverly with the fumble recovery, so both teams turning it over in dire situation. The Scots jumped on their fumble in the end zone, and now the defense will have to try to keep Midway off the board.
And Brian, this is something the offense cannot do because this defense is going to have their hands full.
Glaceman quickly throws. That thing was humming.
But the way this pace is going to be for Waco Midway, if the defense is out there, they give up a long drive, they cannot afford to go right back out on the field. The offense, not only can they not turn it over, they need to sustain drives and give this defense a little bit of a chance for a blow defensively. And I expect to see a lot of different defensive linemen playing today.
Miles,
for
that was
Park.
the problem last year. We'll recap that after this second down play. Handoff, schemed well by the Scotties as Claiborne is head to a fairly short gain. Last season in the 35-28 Midway win, the Scots led that game in the first half 21-7. It was a 21-14 score at halftime, and then the Midway Panthers just elected to pound on that Scots front, scoring drives of 9 plays and 98 yards, 9 plays and 87 yards, and the knockout blow was a 19-play, 80-yard drive last season. Glaceman throws to the rear man in a stacked receiver look. Twisting through the Scott defense and scoring a touchdown is Jake Graham, the tight end.
And there's a Scotty down in the end zone.
Yeah, and that's John House, and that would, well, you got to hope for the best. That would be a massive loss right there, and House is down, and what a tough young man, so you know he's hurting.
Well, this is a bad sign right now for the Scott defense. They knew early and often that they were going to see screens from this Waco Midway attack. That's what they do very well. That's how they churned up all these yards, specifically with number 9, Joseph Ward. And they knew, hey, we're going to get screened a lot early in the game. If we can eliminate that in the run game, we're going to be in good shape. And so far, that screen game has been very effective, especially with the receivers blocking downfield. But right now, the concern is about John House, not only for his career going forward, but need that young man out on the field today, Coach Cunningham.
Absolutely. He's been dynamite all year long.
It takes Midway 2 plays to go 24 yards. The scoring play, a 24-yard touchdown pass from Sam Glazeman to Jake Graham.
And what they've done is offensively, you've seen this a couple times, is they stack they go a 3-deep stack out wide on the field, and then they've run that screen out there wide to the, I guess you would say, the most shallow receiver. And unfortunately, you've got to honor the fact that they could still run those guys deep that are up in the front of the stack. And so the Scots had a hard time getting over there. Did Rajavian specifically, couldn't quite get there to make that play. And in turn, it's a touchdown for Midway, and tough one for the Scotties.
And here's the other thing about Highland Park against this Waco Midway team. There's a lot of teams that believe, hey, we're going to run these 2 or 3 formations, and we're going to do that, excellent. And we're going to execute those plays. Well, Waco Midway believes, hey, not only are we going to execute the formations that we run, but we're going to run multiple formations out there, and they have multiple personnel groups. They'll go 5 wide. They'll use 2 tight ends and no receivers. They're used 3 tight ends, blocking back, H-back. They do all sorts of different things with their offensive scheme, and it makes it very difficult for the defense.
Jackson Smith will try to give Midway a 10-7 lead. Both teams with 7 points off of opposing turnovers. With 6:09 left, Midway with their first lead of this area round matchup, 10-7.
I mean, fellas, we knew this going in, and I think so did the coaching staff from Highland Park. I mean, you're going to give up some points. This is a very talented offense. The key, though, is you can't set them up in short field situations. You got to hold on to the football. Again, you got to win that turnover game, if you will, to be successful, specifically in the playoffs and playing against teams that are as quality as Midway is. You just can't give them those short fields and put your defense in that tough of a situation.
Certainly better conditions for this game than last season's meeting between these teams. Played in Midlothian. Misty, yucky weather here in the climate-controlled confines of Jerry World.
Well, this place is pretty cool. It's the first time we touched on this, but this is the biggest arena there is in the world to play football, and the Scots do feel like, hey, we played here before. We played against Prosper here. Waco Midway has not played here before, and Brian, we were down the field before the game commenting on how do you do your job with all the shiny things all around this building, and hopefully the Scots use that to their advantage. And Brian, also another thing you touched on before was the Scots seem to weather the storm early, and this is a key drive coming up right here for HP.
Alexander, Deeb, and Sweeney. It'll be the sophomore getting it for the second consecutive boot. Alexander keeping those legs moving. He'll be stopped shy of the 20. as the clock stops with exactly 6 minutes remaining in the first. Midway leading the Scots 10-7.
You know, and Miles, you were just talking about the fact that this is an absolutely stunning spectacle of a facility. It's absolutely incredible, and what an opportunity for these young men and coaching staffs and fans to come in and experience this. But with that being said, you still have a job to do. You still have to stay focused at the task at hand. You still have to execute the game plan and not get lost in the glamour of a place like this.
First and 10 from the 18-yard line. The Scots turned it over on the first play of their last drive. And they're going to try the same play. They're going to toss it back on what's essentially a flea flicker. Throwing it deep right side. The pass is caught. Kemp Sowers having the half of his life. He'll be put down at the 25-yard line of the Panthers.
Unbelievable play right there by Henry Allen. That's how you win over your teammates. You stare down the barrel of the gun. You deliver the football down the field as you take a huge lick, and you're going to see it right here. Henry Allen takes a shot as he delivered that ball down the field.
He takes a shot. What execution, but what guts by Coach Allen of saying, you know what? We're going to run the same dadgum play we were going to run a minute ago, and we're going to execute it. The guts and the trust that he has, and what a catch by Kemp Sauer. What a half he has going so far here at Jerry's
He's
World.
close to 100 yards. That one for 46. First and 10 from the 26, showing the same formation that Waco Midway just scored on. Instead, they'll hand it off to Stephen Deeb right between the tackles. Deeb on the season coming into tonight's game, 171 carries for 1,125 yards and 17 touchdowns. That's a tough sledding couple right there.
Well, the O-line's going to have their hands full. That front four for Midway is very talented. They're big, they're strong, they're physical. That offensive line, who's been steady for the Scots, specifically kind of in the last half of the year, has really gotten better and better and better. They're going to have their hands full here this afternoon.
Stack the trio of receivers on the left side of the formation once more. Allen instead is going to throw deep. He's looking for Jeff Cupp. Tries to extend but cannot make the catch. There on the coverage was the safety, Leandre Robinson.
Good effort right there by Cupp, and really a good throw. I mean, there was only one person that was going to make that play, and it was Jeff Cupp, just out of his reaching, diving arms right there. But good throw. I like the play call.
Henry Allen right now with 104 yards passing, but -1 rushing yards for the Scots overall, and that's a concerning trend right now for HP. As good as Henry Allen has been, you need that run game there, at least getting 2 or 3 yards a tote to keep the defense honest.
The Scots now 48% on third down for the season. They're 0 for 1 today. They need the Midway 16. Allen looks left. He's in some trouble. He'll turn upfield, and he is popped. Shouldered down by Anthony Flowers.
Well, a rare blitz right there from Waco Midway. Talked to Henry during the week, and he said, yeah, about 75-80% of the time we know exactly what they're doing. It's a soft man coverage. When they do blitz, it's pretty vanilla. Right there, they brought the house, and the Scots didn't do a great job of picking it up, and Henry just had to scramble for his life.
He did, but he did a really nice job of picking up what he could and really giving them a very feasible field goal attempt right here. Is that Moore that's on?
It's Giffen, Michael Lamar, and
Will Moore.
Okay.
Timeout.
We're up here a ways, boys. Kind of tough to see numbers down there. But Will Moore, boy, he's been rock solid all year. Looks like we're going to have a timeout called.
Moore is 5 for 5 on field goals this year. He's got a long of 43. This will be a little bit inside of that, a 38-yard effort when we get things going here from AT&T Stadium after the Scots have burned their first time out of the first half. 4:36 left in the opening frame. It's been a good one so far. Midway leading 10-7. The Scots got on the board first on a John House fumble recovery in the end zone for a touchdown. Midway then responded. Starting at their own 25-yard line, the drive stalled out at the HP 11. They capitalized on a 29-yard field goal. The Scots then on the subsequent possession tried what amounted, we believe, to a reverse flea flicker, but instead the transition of the football was errant. Midway jumped on the ball at the Highland Park 24-yard line. They needed 2 plays to score from 24 yards out to give them a 10-7 lead, and now Will Moore is going to try from 38 yards to tie this thing up with under 5 minutes left in the first.
Giffen snapping it. Michael Lamar is the holder.
From 38. It's got plenty of mustard.
Money.
And it is good.
What a kick. I mean, that was good from 50, boys. I mean, what a kick. Will Morris had an incredible season. And what a luxury to have a guy like that that can come in there in the playoffs and just nail one from 38.
You got 2 or 3 guys. You got Grayson Borrego can get the job done. We know what kind of a weapon Jackson Hubbard is, and all year, Will Moore handling those extra points, he's done a tremendous job. He doesn't just sneak it through. He strikes the ball very well, to kind of borrow a term from golf. You know, he's a good ball striker. He gets all of it every single time.
That's a huge answer for the Scots.
Big time.
Obviously, I know they only get 3 out of it, but I'll tell you, really, I mean, give up the touchdown on the short field. They were deep in their own territory after the kickoff. That's a nice drive, productive drive, and pick up 3 to tie this football game. I think they get the momentum back on their side.
The big play on that drive, a 46-yard catch by Kemp Sauer. He's got about 100 yards receiving here in the first quarter. He has been the man to go to.
He's got 104.
For Henry Allen. There we go. Coming into this game, Sauer had 12 catches for 152 yards. He's got 100 yards in the first quarter today.
Well, he has really stepped up, as well as Jeff Cup, who had a big game last week. Those 2 guys are really playing well at the biggest time of the year.
Eric Claiborne and Day Walker back to receive the kick. It'll be Walker taking it at the 17.
Boy, Jackson Hubbard once again.
We've seen that a couple of times this year.
And you don't want that. You don't want your kicker having to make a lot of plays on kickoff, but I'll tell you, what a luxury to have a kicker who's not afraid to stick his nose in there and make a play.
Well, all 3 of these kickers are athletes. They're not just kickers. They also play soccer. And Jackson Hubbard is a tremendous soccer player. And you can see the athleticism right there, but a big return. Waco Midway's gotten the better of Highland Park so far in this return game.
Great field position, 1st and 10 from their own 44.
John House back in the game, makes the play.
Claiborne will pick up about 4.
Yeah, House is back in there, which is great. And also, Bobby Hernser's back in there. And I thought Bobby was going to have an opportunity to make an impact in this football game because of his size. Bobby's such a big young man, and Midway is big up front.
Garrett Wingrove also in there, number 90.
Tight end on the right side is Graham. This play will not count as flags come in, and Panthers are going to be marching backwards 5 yards.
Well, and not necessarily abnormal when you're facing a team that likes to go as fast as Midway does. There's going to be times where that offensive line is going to get a little antsy.
Glazeman slings it to the right. It was intended for Treston Womack, and quickly it's 3rd down and long for the Panthers.
Well, and thank goodness that throw was off the target, because I'll tell you, if he makes that catch, I think he takes that to the house. They had it blocked very effectively.
And this is a huge 3rd down and long right now for the Scots secondary.
Just the second 3rd down opportunity for Midway. Tied with Highland Park at 10 with 3:40 to go in the first quarter. Glazeman with the play fake. Lets it rip. Caught. 1st down. First catch of the day for Joseph Ward.
Nice little pitch and catch right there. That's a Division I quarterback in Sam Gleesman, and he had all the time in the world right there to scan the field, step into the throw, and make an accurate pitch down the field.
Quickly back to work. Glazeman bottled up in the backfield and taken down.
Outstanding job right there, not taking the bait of the mesh there with the running back and quarterback, and a really nice job of John House coming up and making the play.
Josh Block at that linebacker spot, along with John House, Bennett Brock, Hayden Schneiders, the down lineman, Garrett Wingrove, Turner Cox, Bobby Hernser, Joseph Sweeney, and Andrew Petroselli at corner. Here's Glazeman. He'll let it rip. That's a tough catch, as Sweeney was all over the receiver, Joseph Ward. He's going to be
I had
6 or 7 yards short of the first down.
I had my eyes on Ward in pregame, watching him get loose, and boy, he's a good-looking receiver, great athlete, got great hands, and catches everything in sight, as you can tell.
15 touchdown receptions.
3rd down and 6. Glazeman in trouble, throws it up for grabs, incomplete.
That was
great pressure.
Garrett Wingrove with the pressure for the Scots, and I know from talking to the defensive line group this week is the Panthers are going to settle for a field goal. They really feel like, hey, this guy does not like to get hit, and when you hit him, that's going to get him off his game, especially interior pressure. So big assignment today for Turner Cox.
This will be a 41-yard field goal attempt.
Yeah, this is huge right here.
For Jackson Smith. 45 is his long. From 41. Got it.
It's impressive, and it's not a shock. I mean, you're playing a team here in Midway that they're going to be solid across the board. Offensively, obviously, very, very talented. Defensively, they're very good. And the special teams as well. I mean, and I think their record, quite frankly, is a little deceiving. Because you look at it and you think, man, these guys have lost 3 games. They're probably not as good as they were. Let's get something straight. Their non-district schedule was very difficult.
They lost to Lake Travis, who the winner of this game could very likely face in the next round. They lost that one 48-24. They lost to a really good Mansfield team, 45-44, and a pretty salty Mansfield Timberview squad, 44-37. So they lost all 3 non-district games against really stout opponents, and outside of the Lake Travis game, they were right there with all 3 teams.
They were, and let's give them credit here. I mean, the fact that they've been able to bounce back after a tough non-district schedule, win their remaining 8 games, coming to the playoffs on a high note. I mean, again, I think it's deceiving. You look at that record and think, oh, they lost 3 times, they're very beatable, which not going to say they're not, but they're also an extremely talented football team.
Midway put 606 yards on Garland last week in the 41-20 win. They never punted. Their problem was turnovers. They threw 3 picks. Deeb will get the look this time from inside the 10. Good blocking. Deeb outside the 30-yard line before he's slung down by Nick Sheldon.
Well, a nice return right there by Deeb, and a nice block initially by Paxton Alexander. Big number 35, the sophomore's not afraid to go in there and poke his head in and lay a lick, but good field position here for the Scots to get this drive going.
That was Zenji Reyes on the stop, and it will set Highland Park up 1st and 10 at their own 32, trailing 13-10. We've had a lot of action here in the first quarter of this one. It's going to have to really do some work to live up to the game we saw here before this, as Poteet took down Wiley East on a field goal at the buzzer.
What was it, 46-43 final?
46-43. Kyle Burnett in as a second tailback on the right side of Henry Allen as they'll flex Stephen Deeb out to the edge on the right side. Allen will pump fake. He's got time. That time vanishes. And so goes that first down play as he'll be sacked back at the 26-yard line, a loss of 6.
What they were looking for right there is they sent Deeb in motion. They were trying to send Burnett right up the center of the field and hoping to catch the defense off guard. 3 defenders went with him, and there was just nothing there.
Well, that was that same kind of soft zone that we've been expecting to see from Waco Midway, and it was right there again, and just a coverage sack right there. Good job by the Waco Midway secondary.
Brandon Anderson with the takedown of Henry Allen. 2nd and 16 from the 26 as we're under 140 remaining in the first. Midway with a 3-point lead. Allen dances, throws, incomplete, looking for Kemp Sauer, who thought he was held. And it's 3rd down and 16 for the Scots.
Pretty good job right there by the offensive line of giving Henry time in a nice little pocket. Unfortunately, he just wasn't quite able to step up in that pocket. And really, I think, fellas, on that one, if Henry looks to his left and tries to run that football, he may be able to pick up the first down.
Scots are 0 for 2 on 3rd down.
This is a big play right here. You want to get your defense a little bit of a breather. Can't afford to send those guys right back out there.
Sauer in motion. Allen plants, throws right, incomplete. Looking for Cup, and the Scots are going to have to punt it.
Got to give credit right there to the Midway defense. That's a really nice possession defensively. I mean, the Scots just had nothing. There was nothing there. They defended it very well.
Well, Coach, I think this is going to script right now for Waco Midway's defense. Highland Park is not running the ball effectively. That's a huge key for them. They're going to say, hey, you know what? If you're going to beat us with a double reverse pass and a great catch by the wide receiver, we're going to have to tip our cap. But you're not going to beat us with Stephen Deeb, and you're not going to beat us with Henry Allen running the option. And so far, they've taken those 2 things away from Highland Park.
Scots haven't punted a whole lot this year, but Jackson Hubbard's been fantastic when they have. Another good punt. But good field position again for Midway as Christian Davis calls for the fair catch with 1:14 left. Waco Midway with the ball and a chance to extend a 13-10 lead.
Big possession right here for the Scott defense. Again, Midway comes out and takes the lead by 3, and then their defense really stepped up and got a big-time stop for them right there. Conversely, the Scott defense is going to have to step up, and I look for that defensive line as they're shifting bodies in and out of there quite a bit to really start getting some pressure on the quarterback.
This threesome is Gam, Wingrove, and Snelling. Glazeman wanted to throw to the left, but instead he'll see what he can get. What he'll get is a turf burn right before taking a whip from Bennett Brock.
Well, the Scots knew that he doesn't want to get hit, and he's going to slide down whenever he gets the opportunity. Great play by Snelling.
Up the middle. Gam there as well.
Well, I think that was Snelling. Great call right there, and an outstanding play by the senior defensive lineman.
And it's huge for Snelling, for the Scots to be able to get him and Turner Cox back. Snelling battled a plethora of injuries throughout the season, as there's a man down for Waco Midway right here, but you know, Snelling just battled one thing after another. Every time it looked like he was going to get back on the field for Highland Park, he was right back in the trainer's room, and so it's good for him to be able to be out there on the field. And
boys, the Scotties have
really
done
missed him.
Really nice job against Eric Claiborne so far, the 6', 180-pound senior. Last week, 25 carries for 203 yards and a touchdown against Garland. 44 seconds left, waning moments of the first quarter. We'll take a break here from AT&T Stadium. Midway leading Highland Park 13-10. After an injury stoppage, the Highland Park defense tries to bow up in the face of a 3rd and 5 play from near midfield. Midway 1 for 3 on 3rd down. Scott shifting prior to the snap. Glazeman drops back, throws incomplete. A flag comes in on a ball that was not catchable.
That's a horrible call. I'm going to be the first one to say it. Here's why. Number one, that ball was not even close to being catchable. Number two, the ball was past the receiver when he was pushed. That's a bad call right there, and the Scots have every right in the world to lose it if they do get called for pass interference.
Pass interference, Highland Park, number 26.
That's bad.
15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So that is a 3rd down conversion by way of penalty, and it will move Midway to the Highland Park 40. That is not what the Scots needed when it looked like their defense had gotten off the field.
That's tough right there. That ball was not even close to being catchable. Way overthrown, and a tough break going against the Scots.
And you can see Midway, when they don't go fast, they bring in different personnel groups, and this is another wrinkle right here, 3 backs.
And it'll be Glazeman that keeps it.
But you don't see a lot of teams that'll go 3 backs in the backfield, a couple of tight ends, 5 wide. It really doesn't matter. They've got pretty much everything in the book. This is like a pro team in terms of their personnel groupings.
Well, so far I've been pretty shocked, and they have not really tried to get Eric Claiborne very involved in this game. Just as I say that.
He goes to the 25-yard line for a nice gain and a chain mover.
I mean, obviously a very, very talented running back is Eric Claiborne, coming into this game at 204 carries, over 1,100 yards rushing, and 14 touchdowns, as they've already run another play.
And they think, I think the Scots realize that this is a run-heavy set right here for the Panthers, as their safeties look at Matt Barge and Turner Rajabian. That's going to be the last play of the quarter, but they're sneaking up real close to that line of scrimmage.
It's lived up to the billing so far in a rematch of what was a close game a season ago. We're through one. Midway leading the Highland Park Scots 13-10. We'll take a break, come back with the second quarter. You're watching Highland Park Scots playoff football, brought to you by Game On Sports Productions. 13-10 Midway as we change ends of the field. I'm Brian Sutcliffe, joined by my good friends Miles Dunklin and Coach Eric Cunningham. It will be a second down and 5 play from the Highland Park 21. It'll be Eric Claiborne getting the carry, and he'll be knocked down from behind by Matt Gamm. Miles, give us a look at the first quarter stats.
Yeah, well, you look at Midway, they got 8 first downs to Highland Park 3, 151 total yards for Midway, just 100 even for the Scots, but the Scots are -4 in the run game right now with 104 passing yards.
Third down and short. Glaceman will hand off.
Well, here's what's tough about Waco Midway. Not only do they spread you out, they throw the screen game, they spread you out in that regard, and they go fast. They also bludgeon you to death with power. They try and mash on you. They got big guys up front. They got multiple big guys in terms of fullbacks, blocking backs, and they'll pull those guards around and really pound on the linebackers.
The 9th play of the drive, 1st and 10 from the Highland Park 14. Glaceman throws right side. The pass is caught for a touchdown. That's a slick grab by Joseph Ward.
It was a slick little push-off at about the 2-yard line, didn't get called, and that's a tool of the trade for a wide receiver, and just a nice play.
Yeah, it was. A perfect throw right there, obviously, initially by Glazeman, but I'll tell you, Joseph Ward and Joseph Sweeney have been very physical on the edge all day long. I think they're going to let them play a little bit, and that's fine because Sweeney needs to be able to get away with some physicalness as well, but I think old Ward got away with a push, Miles. I'm going to agree with you right there.
That is the 25th passing touchdown of the year by Sam Glaceman, 16 of them to Joseph Ward. And with 11:16 left in the first half, Midway with its largest lead of the game, 20-10.
Well, Joseph Sweeney's going to be playing what I call cat coverage today. He's going to follow that cat all around the field. It's going to be Sweeney and Ward, a couple of Josephs going at it all day today in a big-time matchup between some nice-looking prospects. That time it was advantage to Joseph Ward on a subtle little push-off that is really just part of the game. Like you said, Coach, it's going to go both ways, but a nice play.
It is, and I'll tell you, we talk a lot about big possessions, big moments in the game. Here's another one right here. Again, now it's a 2-possession game. The Scott offense is about to be back on the field. Obviously, I believe right now they've got to mount a drive and kind of get that, and I know I talk a lot about momentum, but in the playoffs specifically, that's so huge. And so I think the Scots need to put together a nice drive and come away with points on the board, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown.
And they need to get something going with Stephen Deep. Find a way to get him in the game right now, because right now they're -4 in the rushing category. It's going to make it a long day if you're going to ask Henry Allen to throw basically every single play.
Paxton Alexander getting a lot of run here in the first half. He'll take it near the goal line. Wants to find the left edge. Here comes a flag, and Alexander is going to be put down around the 12-yard line.
Well, the Scots are going to start with really bad field position. I think they're going to get called on a hold right here, which is going to be half the distance to the goal, and put them down more than likely at about the 5 or the 6-yard line, exactly what they're not looking for. I mean, that, again, you put yourself in tough situations when you're starting that deep in your own territory.
And that one's not on Paxton. It's great coverage.
Block in the back, Highland Park number 65. Whether it be half the distance to the goal, first down, Highland Park.
A great coverage right there by Midway, but I don't think it's an accident that number 35 is getting the ball kicked to him a lot. I think Midway is well aware, hey, we know who 34 is, we know who 2 is, we don't know who number 35 is, and we're going to find out and kick him the ball and see if he's got what it takes.
These have been the starting points for Highland Park's drives in the first half. Their own 7, their own 29, their own 18, their own 32, and their own 5. Field position has been a big advantage for Midway in this game so far.
And I just saw a reaction out of Coach Allen. He's not very happy, obviously. Boy, it just drives him nuts to have to start this deep in his own territory religiously.
A couple of tailbacks in on this first down play from the 5. It'll be Kyle Burnett getting the look. Was hit in the backfield, manages to get back to the line of scrimmage, but not much more.
The Scots are still in the red right now in the running game, and that's not a good trend. They're doing a great job. Midway is controlling that. Think about how well the Scots have run the ball consistently this year. That's been their bread and butter. So give a lot of credit to Midway for taking that away. It's a really good front 7 like we touched on early.
If nothing else, Highland Park has got to get some breathing room right now at the 5-yard line with a 2nd and 10. Allen throws incomplete, looking for Buell.
It's not a good throw. Let's be honest. Henry has been very good all year long, but that ball was just low and very difficult for Buell to handle. Probably a ball that Buell's thinking he could have and should have caught, but just not a great throw there by Henry.
Scots are looking for their first third down conversion of the game. They're 0 for 3 with 10:29 left in the first half. Midway by 10, 20-10.
Kemp Sauer back in the game here for Kyle Burnett.
Sauer with over 100 yards receiving here in the first half.
And this is where you're going to see that man coverage, and it's important for the guys on the outside to win and for Henry Allen to deliver an accurate ball.
Allen's in trouble. A sack for safety.
And that's just a 4-man rush, and they get home.
They're good, boys, I'll tell you, and we talked about their front seven. They're very talented, very athletic, very quick. The offensive line's got their hands full. That was one of those pass plays that it was a lengthy developing play. It took time, and that offensive line had to hold up, and Henry just couldn't get rid of the football in time.
All right, just go back to what they're doing defensively. They're dropping 3 linebackers soft. You can see it right there. The 3 linebackers about the 15-yard line. Everybody else is playing man, and then it's a 4-man mush rush up the front. And if you can't block 5-on-4 right there, you're going to be in a world of trouble because they have dedicated the numbers on the back end there on a third down and long type of scenario. So going to make it very difficult for Henry Allen to find anywhere to throw the football.
Scots led this game 7-0 after a John House fumble recovery in the Midway end zone, but since then they have been outscored 22-3.
The only good thing I can say about that safety is the Scott offense is going to come back on the field and the defense gets a little bit more of a breather. And that's a lot better than turning it over.
Well, in this case, the Scots are going to have to kick it away.
No, they're
I'm sorry, excuse me.
No, they're kicking.
Now,
yeah.
if you want to find some silver lining here, it's that if you consider that if the Scots were going to have to punt from their own end zone,
That's
you
right.
may end up
That's right.
getting the punt blocked in the end zone for a touchdown, or certainly Midway with great field position. Here you can at least kick it away and see if in this exchange of possession, maybe you only end up giving up the 2 points.
Yeah, and Jackson Hubbard gets to get a good running start at this one. Yeah, excuse me, I don't know why. I just forgot the rule there for
Hey,
just
it's
a
all
second.
good, baby. It's all good. Good kick. Claiborne will take it at the 26. Look out.
Boy, every bit of momentum in the world on the side of the red, white, and blue right now.
That's Day Walker.
Yep, they're playing with a lot of confidence, and the Scots are just going to have to weather the storm. A turnover would be huge right here. I mean, obviously the defense is tired. They've been on the field quite a bit. They're going to have to step up and try to find a way to get a turnover or just to hold them to 3 points.
These are the starting field positions for Midway in the game. They started the first drive at their own 2, then their own 25, the plus 24, their own 44, their own 40, and the Scott 26. Claiborne around the right side.
Well, this is
out of bounds.
This is back to this full house. We're going to run it down your throat style of offense. And Highland Park right now knows it's coming. They're going to be running the ball, power football at them. And this is where it gets tough.
This
You're
was
on
the game
skates.
plan, Miles, in the second half of the game last year.
They knew it was coming last year in the second half. Just had a difficult time stopping it. We're seeing the same thing.
1st and 10 from the 16. Fling it out to Claiborne. Patiently waiting for his blocks. Matt Barge will shoulder him out of bounds. John House there as well.
Barge is a little bit shaken up. He's been limping out there for the last couple series.
Very patient offense here. It's odd to say that it's patient when they run as quickly as they do, but they haven't tried to attack downfield very much. It's just been a very methodical offense. A couple of nice throws from Glazeman, one of those the touchdown to Ward earlier here in the first half.
Looked like Barge had to come out of the football game.
And that's a position where the Scots don't have just a tremendous amount of depth, so not sure who it is that came in the game. It looks like potentially could be number 30, James Herring, and JV call-up.
Claiborne hit from behind and pulled down by Turner Cox, who has been fantastic after missing much of the regular season with injury.
And by the way, it is James Herring, number 30, who, when I talked to Matt Barge about that backup safety position the other day, he said Herring is arguably the best athlete on the team overall, and they feel like he's got a lot of upside, but this is obviously quite a situation to get your first varsity defensive snaps.
Circle this play in your scorebook. 3rd down and 2 from the Highland Park 8. Scots trailing 22-10. They need a stop. Claiborne will take it inside the 5, and that should be enough for a first down.
Other thing about Herring, by the way, he's just been moved to safety about a week ago. So this is a guy that without a ton of familiarity at that position.
It'll be 1st and goal from the 3. Midway started 1 for 3 on 3rd down. They're 3 for their last 3.
Again, you've got Ward out on the edge, one-on-one coverage with Sweeney. Obviously, you know that Midway's been able to run the ball very effectively, but keep your eye on that matchup. Yeah, I'll tell you, the Scott defenders are just exhausted right now.
And frankly, Coach, there's 9 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only getting started.
Yeah.
In terms of this up-tempo and how tired you're going to get. They went through the same thing with Pulaski, and this is no fun. When you know it's coming, you can't stop it, and you're tired.
2nd and goal from the 1. This is about as slow as we've seen Midway go here so far. This time it's the backup tailback, Corey Chapman. And it's not bad when your backup tailback now has 12 rushing touchdowns. That's number 12. And with 8:28 left in the first half, Midway starting to open it up a bit. They lead 28-10.
Well, the last couple of possessions were critical for the Scott offense, but this next one is absolutely crucial. I mean, then not only do they need points, but they need to move the ball, get this defense off the field for a little while. Well, at that point, it's kind of where, forget the scoreboard, you're going to lose by attrition with the defenses out there this much.
Well, Corey Chapman, just a little bowling ball. The young man, number 3, just scored that touchdown. He's 5'6", 190. He's going to be tough to bring down in short yardage situations. So, obviously, Scott's they are definitely they're backed up against the wall in the corner right now. They're just going to have to fight back. Obviously, you're not going to get it done all in one play. You got to chip away. Again, Miles, you mentioned it. This drive is critical. Try to get some points on the board. If nothing else, drive the football. Give your defense an opportunity to take a breather. But again, if they could get points on the board and find a way, again, to score this possession and then try to hold them and keep it at bay going in at halftime, I think that'd be critical to give them an opportunity in the second half to win this football game.
The other thing that feels weird to me, it feels like we played more than a half of football already. We still got 9 minutes left here in the second quarter, and it feels like just with the amount of snaps now the game is gone that we're midway through the third right now. We got a lot of football left to play.
Well, there's been a lot of kickoffs. These are the midway drives after the House defensive touchdown. Field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, touchdown. So Scott's got to get a stop, but their offense has got to help the defense out by chugging up some of this clock. And you don't want to say it's a must-score possession, but it might be a must-score possession, trailing 29-10 with 8:25 left in the first half.
Yeah, it's as close to it as you can come without it being a must-score situation. This is critical right here. This is danger zone time for the Scots. Already down 19 against a high-powered offense. A tired defense over on the sideline. The offense has got to step up and mount a drive right here.
Still lots of football left to be played. 1st and 10 from the 25.
Scott's go to the pistol.
Stephen Deeb, the pistol setback. They'll throw right. There's Sauer with another grab. Had over 100 yards receiving in the first quarter, and he'll take this one for a gain of about 11 and a first down.
Very good execution right there. Just a simple pitch and catch, a little 2-3 yard out route. Let Sauer take it upfield, pick up the first down. Love the play call there, first play of the drive.
They'll give him 13 on that grab. Chris Buell on the left side of the formation. Jeff Cupp in motion. He's out there with Kemp Sauer and JT Dooley.
Timeout.
And we'll have a timeout here with 8:19 left in the first half. (29-10) Midway.
more success the Scots can have in that short passing game, especially the outside, the better, because right now Midway is trying to take away Stephen Deeb. And Coach Cunningham, the Scots, obviously that's been their bread and butter all year, has been number 34. You're a biggest Stephen Deeb fan as there is. What are the Scots need to do to get him going right now?
Well, it's not so much Deeb as much as it is the offensive line. I mean, they've got to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and right now they're not doing that. I mean, again, Deeb just has had no running room when he has received the football.
Here's Deeb. They'll toss it back to Cup. Cup with a couple of blockers in front of him. Look out. Jeff Cup into Midway territory.
You know, when you're playing a defense that likes to over-pursue and likes to really chase the football, obviously this is something that the Scott coaching staff saw on film coming into this game. Love the play call right there. Big-time play for the Scots, and they're picking up yards in chunks right now.
That's a 19-yard pickup. Scots desperate in need of points, trailing 29-10 with 8:11 remaining in the second quarter. Allen on a delayed handoff. Here's D. Escapes from a tackle. Won't escape from the second.
Well, I like that one, Coach. That was a really nice play design. Good call by Coach Allen on the delay. And Midway did not see it coming, and finally get to see Stephen Deeb with some running room.
Well, a great job by the right side of the offensive line, specifically
Gray Giddens.
Gray Giddens, pardon me. Gray did a nice job of walling off that 3 technique and driving him inside and giving Deeb some room to run the football.
Nice pickup of 7 on first down. It's 2nd and 3 from the 36. Deeb again.
Oh.
So tough to take down as Sam Richard just bounced right off the senior running back.
And then a little extracurricular, and I'm Highland Park. I'm saying, hey, we got a call earlier on that defensive pass interference.
Well, I want you to see how late they throw Stephen Deeb to the ground. The whistle blew right there, and then he gets shoved down to the ground right
extra
there.
shove after that, but great job right there by the middle backer, number 32, for that's Sam Richards. The Scots had it blocked otherwise, but he was able to meet Deeb right in the middle of that hole.
3rd down and 1 from the 34, and what you would imagine would be 4-down territory, trailing by 19. There's Deeb. Well, you're not going to need a 4th down play because Stephen Deeb picks it up. As the Scots convert on 3rd down for the first time in the game, they're now 1 for 5.
Well, a nice block right there by Kyle Burnett. They come with the 2-back look, but I'll tell you, Stephen Deeb he is not going to go down at first hit today. He's obviously got so much to play for. He's a senior. He started on this team for multiple seasons. You're just not going to get him down one hit today. You're going to have to wrap up, grab cloth, and hope and pray that you've got some teammates coming with you.
Best drive of the game for Highland Park since their first possession, which started at their own 7. Looking for Jeff Cup.
How was that not pass interference?
Couldn't get the call. That's a good question there, Miles. Looked like the ball was thrown behind Cup. Could have gone either way right there. Yep.
HP's first possession started at their own 7. It traversed to the Midway 42-yard line before the Scots punted it, killed it inside the 5-yard line. The next play, HP was jumping on a fumble in the end zone for their lone touchdown of the game. Allen will fling it right. Wide open is Stephen Deeb. Deeb in a foot race. Stephen Deeb, end zone.
Huge play. Had to have it. Unbelievable play call right there by Coach Randy Allen. And an outstanding execution. Stephen Deeb right there. You see the mesh. He acts like he's going to block. He just falls out that side. Wide open. Outstanding job. Obviously something, and what a finish right there by Deeb, but obviously something the Scots saw on film. They saved it for just the perfect opportunity. Great execution.
Well, the reason why that was the perfect play right there was because Midway finally brought a blitz, and Highland Park had the perfect play call right there for that blitz.
The second receiving touchdown of the year for Stephen Deeb. He now has 19 scores on the year. Their first offensive touchdown of the day after the Wilmore PAT. Here come the Scots. They trail 29-17. Still lots of time here left in the first half.
Yeah, they had to have it. That was just critical. Absolutely critical. And Deeb does a tremendous job of catching the football first. Don't take that for granted. And then, is that Burnett that was down the field?
That was JT Dooley, and
there you go.
A lot of times you see a receiver right there get flagged for a block in the back because you decide you need to try to hit that guy, and a very smart play there by JT Dooley.
And you see the toughness and the willingness to finish by Stephen Deeb. This is a guy talking with Coach Marcello, the legendary wrestling coach at Highland Park last week. Stephen Deeb has a chance this spring to be the second four-time All-State wrestler in the history of Highland Park. He's a tremendous all-around athlete.
Unbelievable.
That was the 22nd touchdown pass of the season for Henry Allen. And the Scots had to have points in what we said wasn't a must score, but it really was. They get the score they needed to have to pull to within 12.
They had to have it, and they score quick enough for that. I think they've given themselves an opportunity, obviously, to get a stop, hopefully get the football back, and then if they can somehow flip this thing and score again without giving up any more points, boy, we're right back where we started in a very close ball game.
Hubbard's kick is away. Day Walker. Look out.
Holding.
The return game has been big.
It has.
This one's going to come back.
But it's a whole lot easier to return whenever you're cheating out there. That's exactly what happened. We had a hold, a definitive hold at about the 27-yard line. It's going to take them back to about the 17-yard line. That's a big call right there for the Scots.
And it was Tress Page.
First down.
It was Tress Page, number 92, for Highland Park, a guy we haven't said his name a lot this year, not a defensive starter, but does a great job drawing the hold, and that was a big play.
That was huge
for the Scott defense.
Yeah, and if the officials would have missed that one, that was about as obvious as it comes. And Scots had to have that. I mean, look, that's about a, I don't know, Brian, they would have had the ball out close to the 50, I believe. That's about a 35-yard penalty.
The clock is rolling for some reason. There's a solid 10 seconds they're going to run off this clock that shouldn't have. It's pushed over to Claiborne. And that's a play that, you know, it's not flashy, but you look up and it's gone for about 7.
Yeah, very effective.
That's what they do. They hit you for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 every single time, make it real difficult on you.
And before you know it, they've snapped the football. The Scots do a good job of stepping up, and now they've got him in a third down situation.
Matt Barge back in the game for HP. And by the way, Matt Gam made that tackle on that last play. He's played great today for the Scotties. Huge play right here, third down and short.
2 yards to go. They'll go jumbo with a couple of tailbacks and an H-back. Glaceman drops back as Midway wants the big money. They'll fire down the center of the field, and it's caught. Joseph Ward with another grab, and he's still on his feet. Ward to the near sideline. Shoved out of bounds by Joseph Sweeney near the 20-yard line.
Well, that was Barge in coverage, and that was just a very risky play call, and they got away with it. Really didn't look good from the start. He just throws it up, and Ward just goes and makes a play on the football.
Got to tip your cap. That's a great player right there. They lost a great one last year to Waco Midway, headed to Baylor, and they replaced it with just more talent oozing out of this program.
1st and 10 from the 21 as Glaceman fires left.
He's got to make a tackle right there.
Andrew Petroselli
on a nice
takes
job.
Down Bryce Jonigan.
Yeah, nice job by Petroselli. I mean, you're out on an island right there. You got to make the play, and he does. He holds on, he holds on, he holds on, and here comes help.
So once again, right here in the red zone, it is important for Midway to finish, and it's even more important for the Scots to keep them out of the end zone. Need to hold them to a field goal.
Scots linebackers, that front 7 for the Scots have done a really nice job against Claiborne. That continues.
Well, like you said, Brian, they're getting 3 or 4, or even the times where the Scots bottle them up. And those types of runs really help your offense. It's nothing flashy.
Well, that was a 6-yard gain.
Right. I mean, it's really effective the way they lead with that power fullback.
3rd and 4 on what might be a 4-point play. Glaceman rolls, throws, incomplete.
I thought Turner Cox got held. I think they're going to get the call.
Yeah, I agree completely. Turner did a nice job of selling it as well. Kind of throws his hands up in the air. I think that's going to be that's a hold, and that's a big penalty right there. The question is, I think you have to accept the penalty right there. I mean, you back them up 10 yards. You'd put them in probably a 2nd and 13.
No, it'd be 4th down if you decline the penalty, but it looks like the Scots are going to accept it.
And this is dicey right here. Now, I'm not saying this is the wrong call, but you're giving this very potent Waco Midway team another chance on 3rd down. And take a look at number 9, Joseph Ward. Again, this is their guy. Next highest receiver has 449 yards. Joseph Ward's got 1,300. Another different formation we haven't seen yet.
3rd and 9 from the 20. Glaceman drops back, looking for the end zone. Touchdown.
Just an incredible throw. You got to tip your cap. I mean, just an incredible throw. There's a reason why that young man is so talented. I mean, that ball was thrown in the absolute perfect spot. It was a very well executed play. Took a while for it to develop. John House was just a hair shy of getting there. And Ward just, I mean, that's just an incredible throw and a great route and a good catch. Boom.
Good coverage by Sweeney, but the way the ball was placed in, dropped in over the top, made it tough.
35-17, Midway answers. Just under 3 minutes to go in the first half, and now the pressure will be back on the Scots offense to get something done, as the Scots won the opening toss and took possession of the football to start the game. So Midway is going to get the ball to start the 3rd quarter.
Well, Coach Cunningham, what's the old saying? You know, great offense beats great defense. And right there, you know, it was good defense by the Scots. They got pressure on the quarterback. Joseph Sweeney, you know, 9 times out of 10, he's going to either intercept that ball or knock it down, but it was a rainbow dime just dropped in over the top, and it was just a gorgeous ball.
It was beautiful. I think the play of that drive, though, was the 3rd and 1 where they went deep. I mean, the Scots had them, you know, look like in an adverse situation, and the ball was just thrown up, and again, Ward just went and made a play. That's what he's done all day long here. Again, you've got stellar play so far to the quarterback, but that specific play was one where he just threw the football up, and that was the key play to that drive.
Thing about Midway, they've got so many different guys. Yeah, the Scots have done a great job of holding down Claiborne, but it's been Ward that's burning them.
A little pooch kick, as the Scots stash J.T. Dooley there as an up man.
Well, then the Scots will take that. I mean, they've started deep in their own territory for several drives. They're going to be able to get out on about their 26, 27-yard line.
J.T. Dooley, by the way, a guy very comfortable on this field. He's got responsibilities for the Cowboys on Sundays. They got him down there holding an iPad. Obviously, his dad, Derek Dooley, is the wide receiver coach for the Cowboys, so he's a guy very comfortable in this setting.
Must be nice. Huh?
Sure would be.
1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. Scots down by 19 once again. Little inside pass to Stephen Deeb, who couldn't get to the edge. There's a lot of traffic there. He was trying to negotiate.
Nice little play, though, for the Scots. It's a Randy Allen special.
Allen, quick throw to the left. There's Jeff Cupp with the grab. Got a good block on the outside before he is put down as Leandre Robinson and Landon Jones combined for the stop.
Well, nice block right there by Chris Buell. He's so physical out there on the edge.
He's done a great job of that all year. Kind of an interesting spot right here for the Scots with 2:10 left. Obviously, you want to get down the field and score, but you don't want to go so fast to where you give it back to Midway and give them a chance to score before the end of the half.
I think you'll take points there however you can get it with under 2 minutes left, trailing by 19, 36-17. Allen, he's got good time. Wants the deep shot. Pulled in, what a catch! No, they'll say it's incomplete as Jack Toohey looked like he had his hands on it.
No, they're got to give it to him. There's no way.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, boys, that's the catch of the year right there. That's unbelievable play. Look at this.
One-handed grab.
Unbelievable catch.
Boys, that is huge. I mean, the Scots had to have it, and what a catch right there by Toohey. Unbelievable.
Gives the Scots 1st and 10 at the Midway 25-yard line. Delayed handoff for Deeb. What a lateral move there for Steven to escape from the initial attacker. And it gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, the Scots got to be aware of the clock right here. They're down to 1:23. Looks like they have 2 timeouts remaining. And again, points are a premium right here. They want to find a way to get points on the board. Obviously, a touchdown would be awesome. But they got to be aware of the clock.
One thing that Don Woods and this defensive coaching staff have done all year is make terrific adjustments at halftime. The Scots will need to do that once more. They're looking to shave some of this deficit off in the waning moments of the first half. Allen throws right. Dooley with a catch, but out of bounds.
Dooley wanted that one. That was a great throw, by the way, by Henry Allen on the money. I think he had it.
Boy.
He dragged those toes in.
Boy,
that's a catch on Sunday.
I think that's a catch. Wow, it was close. And I can see why it may have appeared as if it was not, but I think that was a catch.
3rd down and 10 from the 25 with 55 seconds to go in the first half. Allen goes through the progressions. Chris Buell had him open. The throw was a little bit high. Chris nearly came down with it.
Yeah, he had him. Henry, the ball's just, it looks like it's just flying on Henry just a little bit. I mean, that ball was just out of the reach.
Didn't maybe step into that one like he typically would want to.
The difference in the game right now, boys, is 3rd down. Midway is 6 for 8. The Scots are 1 for 6. And HP's leading the offense on the field, trailing 36-17 with 49 seconds to go in the first half. They need the Panther 15-yard line, 10 yards away. But first, the Panthers are going to take a timeout. They'll have 1 remaining. Scott still with 2.
Well, this is kind of the same situation that the Scots were in last year. Waco Midway has a chance early in this game to put Highland Park away. And they need to obviously bow their necks right here and not give up the stop or not give up the touchdown. Because if they keep Highland Park out of the end zone right here, like you said, Brian, they get the ball to start the 3rd quarter, they're going to start pounding on you with that run game. So this is critical. We've said that every possession, but at this point in the game, every possession is critical.
The winner of this game will get either Lake Travis or Spring Westfield. Lake Travis beat Pflugerville 48-0 last week, while Westfield beat Kingwood 35-14. The semifinals in the other half of the 6A Division II Region II bracket is set. Rockwall defeated Jesuit yesterday 38-27. And it was Spring taking down Pflugerville Hendrickson 31-14. So Rockwall and Spring will play for a berth in the Region II final next week. Lake Travis Westfield, one of the better matchups in the 2nd round anywhere in the state. A couple of really good teams.
That'll be a good game right there. And in next week's game, whichever one of these 2 teams is able to advance to play probably a Lake Travis team, but let's not make that assumption quite yet. But either way, it's going to be a great matchup.
Huge play right here for the Scots.
4th down and 10 from the 25.
This is something we haven't seen.
Now the Scots will deploy 5 pass catchers in an empty set.
He's got him.
Fires down the middle. He's got a man.
Boys, what do you say? You feel bad? I mean, it was a perfect play call. And Henry knew he was going to take a shot. Perfect play call.
Well, and that's a tough spot for Garrett Wingrove, as he was wide open but hasn't been thrown a pass all season long. So that's a difficult situation. The play was there to be made, but
well, that was something they were waiting for, obviously.
Well, Wingrove is set up he's in a tight end spot right there, and again,
actually he was in line right there. I mean, they had Shellmeyer out wide to the right and kind of snuck Wingrove down the field. It was a beautiful play design.
Here's Claiborne as the Scots run defense continues to be stout.
Interesting that Midway here with about 40 seconds. If they wanted to, they could take a shot, but going to play it conservative. Matt Gamm makes another play.
Midway content to just let this clock roll down, leading 36-17. 36 points, the most allowed by the Scots in the first half all year. They allowed 35 to Pierce in what was a really weird game before shutting out the Mustangs in the second half. The Scots are going to need a similar effort if they want to extend their season as we go to halftime from AT&T Stadium at the intermission. The Midway Panthers lead the Highland Park Scots 36-17. We'll take a break. We come back. We'll have some thoughts on the first half. We'll look ahead to the second. We'll have the band and the bells and plenty more. A beautiful day for football. Fall is finally here. Scots with some work to do as we go to the break, trailing 36-17. This is Highland Park Scots playoff football, brought to you by Game On Sports Productions. (36-17), Midway over Highland Park at the break. Brian Sutcliffe, Coach Eric Cunningham, Miles Dunklin here at AT&T Stadium. The Scots came out like gangbusters, looking really strong on their first drive, starting at their own 7-yard line, advancing all the way to the Midway 42. The Scots decided to go ahead and punt the ball. Big special teams play, pin Midway's offense deep. It worked perfectly for the Scots as they down the football at the 2-yard line, and on the first play, the Scots force a turnover. John House forced the fumble, then was the man that jumped on it in the end zone. The Scots led it 7-0. Then HP watched Midway start from their own 25-yard line. They traversed all the way to the Scott 11. HP's defense holds. They give up a 29-yard field goal, and Coach Cunningham, from that spot, it really looked like the Scots had momentum. They had a big defensive play to get the touchdown, big defensive stop to hold this high-powered Panther attack to just 3 points. But really from that point on, the Scots defense just could not get a stop.
Well, and that's not abnormal against this high-powered offense in Midway. The Scots got the exact start they were looking for, Brian. Again, they, obviously they come out on offense and they move the ball a little bit. They weren't able to convert on the third down. They end up putting the football down deep in the territory of Midway. And as you mentioned, that first play, they're able to scoop and score. And, boy, what a start for the Scots. But you knew that it was just going to be extremely difficult to hold down this Midway offense for too long. They're just too powerful. They have too many weapons. And, again, I mentioned this early. The Scots had to try to keep the defense off the field as much as possible and keep that offense from Midway off the field. They're just very, very talented, obviously. But the Scott defense going against that very quick, high-powered offense, it's tough. And attrition is a big deal. You're talking about an offense that likes to run a lot of plays very quickly, so you got to keep that D off the field as much as you can so that they're not absolutely exhausted. I know they were as happy as anybody to go into halftime to get a little breather, Brian, quite frankly.
Scots allowed 23 points in the second quarter. It was a 13-10 Waco Midway lead after one. A 23-7 run in the second quarter has us where we are right now at 36-17 as we take a look at some of the first half statistics brought to you by our friends over at the Dallas Morning News. Scots being outgained 293-219, 13 first downs for the Panthers to 9 for the Scots. Pretty even in passing. Midway with 197 passing yards. The Scots with 194 rushing has really been the difference. Not a fantastic game for the ground attack for Midway. They've only rushed for 96 yards, a little under 4.5 yards per carry, but the Scots have not been able to get anything done on the ground whatsoever, rushing for just 25 yards on 15 attempts.
And Brian, that's the key right now to me is the fact that Scots they have not been able to get anything going on the ground. And we talked about this, and I talked to those offensive coaches, and they said that the front seven is the key. That's their core for Midway. They are very, very talented. They're very big. They're very physical. But the Scots had to do what they've done a good job of all year long, and that is run the football, and they just have not been able to do that. Conversely, Henry's kind of been facing a lot of pressure in his face. He really hasn't been able to step into a lot of throws The other thing that Scots haven't been able to do, talking about that running game, is get Henry going in the running game. You know, Deeb is a guy, we talk a lot about him and his effectiveness, but Henry has shown flashes of being able to run the ball very well as well, and really he has been a non-factor in the run game as well. Now, guys, this game is far from over. The Scots have time. They have halftime to go in and talk about things, make some adjustments to fit defensively, and you can't just sit and rely on the passing game to get you back in this thing. You've got to stick with it, kind of keep that balance, if you will, and I firmly believe the Scots will do that.
Well, Coach, they actually ran the ball a little bit in this latter half of that second quarter better than they had throughout the course of the game. So I think Coach Allen is on the same page with you that, hey, we can't just let this be all in the back of Henry Allen. They did get some draws and some different plays that worked with Stephen Deeb.
And I appreciate that about Coach Allen. I mean, he's done this for a long time. He's one of the legends of Texas high school football, and he knows exactly the key. And you got to be able to maintain that balance.
You talk about the running game. Jeff Cupp is the leading rusher for the Scots in the game with 19 yards. Stephen Deeb with 9 yards. Henry Allen with -3 yards, and some of that is sack yardage. But HP has not been able to get anything going on the ground. Henry Allen with 194 yards through the air with a touchdown. Kemp Sowers having the game of his life. Had about 152 yards receiving coming into the game. Had 117 in the first half today. Jack Toohey with 37 yards, just about all of it on that fantastic catch to put the Scots into scoring position, but they were not able to come away with points. Stephen Deeb, his second receiving touchdown of the year. He's got 32 yards receiving, and Jeff Cupp with 8. Sam Glazman for Midway, 197 first half passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Joseph Ward, not a bad first half, 139 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Jake Graham had 20 yards on his lone catch of the contest. He has a touchdown. Eric Claiborne with 15 yards receiving. Claiborne on the ground 55 yards, and that's been some tough sledding. He's on the pace for 100-yard game miles, but he's like he's going to have to carry it about 35 times to get there.
Well, I'll guarantee you that the Scots are going to get a steady dose of Claiborne in the second half. We're going to see a lot more of multiple backs in the backfield and of them just coming downhill, and Coach Cunningham with that power run game, and that's really tough to stop. I mean, there's a reason why that has worked for last 50 years of football, is because even if if you're playing Arkansas and you know that, hey, they're going to run it 75% of the time, well, there's a reason why they still win a lot of football games, because it's hard to stop when it's executed correctly, and Waco Midway is really good at it. And so we're going to see a lot more Claiborne in the second half. But, I'll go back to what we talked about earlier, Coach, in terms of finishing in the red zone. The Scots get down here at the end of the second half. They can't finish. They can't get any points. And then go back to that last drive where Highland Park accepts the penalty and they finish. That's a potential 14-point swing if the Scots are able to get a stop on the other side and then finish down here. And obviously it goes the other way, and that's the reason why Waco Midway has the big lead they have.
36-17 at the intermission. Brian Sutcliffe, Coach Eric Cunningham, Miles Dunklin here at halftime as the Midway band does its thing. One of the things we want to talk about here during halftime is that whenever this run for Highland Park ends, it'll be their last as a 6A school for at least 2 more years, as the UIL yesterday announced its classification breakdown. They didn't assign the teams into districts, but they did let the teams know based on the October 30th attendance snapshot data that was presented where the classifications were going to break down. And guys, probably some fist pumping going on in University Park and Highland Park yesterday as the Scots are going to be moving back down to 5A.
Well, I was talking with Coach Todd John, who is an outstanding member of this staff. He's the wide receiver coach and the head coach of JV Blue. And this is about 2 weeks ago, and I was asking him about his young group and what that chance, what kind of a group that kind of a chance that group that's the JV Blue is going to have to make a run. And he said, you know what, going back to 5A is going to help a lot. And that was a very candid comment from him. And Highland Park is going to go from being in 6A, where it's going to be really tough to make a late run, to where, hey, if you're in 5A, you're going to have a chance to win the state championship if you have a good team.
Well, let's be honest here. They are the smallest 6A team in the state of Texas currently. Conversely, they are now about to be one of the largest 5A teams. I mean, do the math. I mean, Brian, you have to be thrilled. I mean, obviously, when that number comes out, it's always been a running joke, obviously, throughout the state of Texas, that whatever that number is, Highland Park is always going to be on the low end of that. And
Highland Park +1 is
that's
typically
right.
what you hear
well,
as the breakdown.
Let me tell you something. That was not the case over the last 2 years, and the Highland Park Scots have handled that with class. They've come in and done a tremendous job. Again,
that's the funny thing is, you talk about, the relief that you're moving back to 5A. Highland Park football went 10-2 last year, and they're going to go at least 10-2 this year. So it's, not too shabby for a team that's won 20 games in the 6A classification for a squad that I think you heard a lot of comments after the Scots were moved up to 6A that sort of were along the lines of, okay, now it's time for HP to get a taste of theirs.
Yeah,
and that has not been the case.
Didn't happen.
The Scots have been fantastically competitive, solid team last year, another really good team this year. Their season is still going. They got some work to do here in the second half, but certainly I think the comments ought to die down a little bit the next time the Scots have to move up to 6A as to what kind of competitiveness they're going to be bringing.
No doubt about it. And, Brian, the thing that I absolutely love is that and I was actually in Highland Park when that all went down, and when that happened, it was like they said, hey, it is what it is. You got to just roll with it. You got to just move with it, and we can't do a dadgum thing about it. We've just got to bow our neck. We got to work hard, and we've got to just stay the course. It's exactly what they've done. They didn't do anything drastic. They didn't feel like they had to go and restructure their entire, off-season program or whatever the case may be. They just stuck with it. Coach Allen did a tremendous job of leading that charge, and it's been impressive, quite frankly. Now, is it going to be nice to go back down to 5A? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I look out here and we talk about the district they've been in the last 2 years, and there's a lot of people that say, well, it hadn't been a great district. I'm going to disagree, boys. Let me tell you something. Mesquite Horn is a very talented team. The Scots beat them. I'm looking down below us right now, and North Mesquite is right down there, and we've talked about those fellas, and what a win that was for the Scots. That was a tough win over a very, very good football
That's
team.
HP's best win of the season.
No doubt about
North
it.
Mesquite is a fantastic team. They're going to play Colleen Shoemaker here. They're a favorite in that one. So that Stallion team very likely is going to go at least 3 rounds deep, and that was a fantastic game at Highlander. One, the Scots came back from a big deficit, and certainly probably the biggest feather in the cap for the Scots this year.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. I absolutely agree. Now, the key is that, okay, and a lot of people are saying, now, where do they go from here? Okay, now you're in 5A. Where are they going to go? Traditionally, they have gone east. Traditionally, you look up and you're, the Terrells of the world, as well as, I think back to whenever we were at what was the 4A at that time. And, again, Mesquite's typically is where they go. Mesquite, out to Terrell in that area. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out with where Highland Park is located. Again, I don't know where the Wiley schools fell. That's a kicker. I think they may be up.
Wiley is
Rockwall.
moving up. Wiley is moving up to 6A. Wiley East will remain where they are. Those teams were loaded in with the Sherman, Denison, Prosper, McKinney North. McKinney's going up.
See, there's
that could be an
another
interesting
one.
district.
Do they go north? Do the Scots go north? Do they go east? It'll be real interesting to see how they fall because they've gone both ways.
A couple years ago, it was Carrollton, some of those schools over
Carrollton
there
schools.
northwest.
It's been real interesting as well to me because the Scots have never gone south necessarily. You think down to that, the Waxahachie, Red Oak, Lancaster, and they've never gone that route. It's always been north or east.
36-17 is the halftime score. We'll take another break. When we come back, the Highland Park Band will regale us on a beautiful day here at AT&T Stadium. Scots trailing by 19. More of the halftime show when we come back. This is Highland Park Scots football brought to you by Game On Sports Productions. Welcome back to AT&T Stadium. We're at halftime. The Midway High School Panthers lead the Highland Park Scots 36-17. Brian Sutcliffe, Miles Dunklin, and Coach Eric Cunningham. It's going to be a big first drive, boys, for the Highland Park Scots, as Midway will get the first possession of the football, leading by 19. And after the Scots force that turnover in the end zone to get that John House touchdown, Miles Dunklin, the Midway offense really had its way most of the rest of the first half.
Well, this is a really, really good football team. And obviously, that's stating the obvious here with Waco Midway. But what's really remarkable about them is they're so balanced across the board with really elite playmakers. And the Scots have done a good job bottling up the running game of Waco Midway. But you can take one thing away, but they're going to hurt you with something else. And Joseph Ward was tremendous in the first half. And, Joe Sweeney really has played some pretty good coverage on him. There's just been some outstanding throws that are going to beat good coverage. And you just got to tip your cap in that regard that those guys have made the plays that have been there to make. And that's why they are who they are.
The winner of this game will get either Lake Travis or Spring Westfield. Last season in the matchup between these teams, the Scots had the halftime lead, and it was Midway earning the second half comeback. This time the Scots will look to reverse roles and come back from a 19-point deficit. Of course, Mesquite Poteet showed us how it was done in the game before this one, coming back from 15 points down in the fourth quarter to beat Wiley East.
Stranger things have happened, boys, and I can promise you one thing. Coach Allen and his staff went in there, and there is going to be no fight in these, no quit in these Scots whatsoever. They're going to fight till that last buzzer sounds. I can assure you of that. There's just too much pride on the side of the blue and gold over there. The tradition speaks for itself. Guarantee you Coach Allen went in at half, rallied the troops. The defense was able to kind of gain their breath, so to speak, and I fully expect a really solid second half for the Scots. And Brian, you just mentioned it. Last year the Scots went in feeling great about themselves at halftime, had the lead, played a great first half. Conversely, here this afternoon, Midway goes in with the lead. They play, in my opinion, really a flawless first half with the exception of that very first drive offensively. Past that point, they were incredible. So the Scots have, in my opinion, seen the best that Midway can throw them. They're down 19. I see a comeback in the future for the Scotties.
Well, it'd be hard for Midway to play a whole lot better than they did in the first half. Coach Cunningham, you said it. They executed really, really well there in the first half. And like you said, there's a ton of pride on that sideline, and the Scots got to feel like, hey, we are still in this thing. It starts with a stop on this opening series of the third quarter.
The Scots coming onto the field. They will kick the ball away to start this third quarter.
I would not be terribly surprised if we see, maybe not right here, but throughout the course of this second half, a surprise onside kick attempt. I know that they've been working on a lot of different things. They've got a lot of wrinkles in the game plan tonight, and no reason to save it for next week at this point. He's going to empty out the playbook this afternoon.
Day Walker, who's had some really nice returns in this game, this time is joined by Leandre Robinson. It is not Eric Claiborne. Back deep to receive.
Oh, I knew that was
coming.
There's
the onside kick.
There it is.
Ball's on the ground.
Boy, it's close, and I think Midway was able to get it, but my goodness, I saw that coming. I tell you, oh my goodness, the Scotties had an opportunity. It bounced off of them, and they just were not able to go and get on the football. I love the call right there. A perfect kick.
Really well done.
Jake Graham had the first offensive touchdown of the game for Midway, and he jumps on this surprise onside kick.
Well, and Hubbard took a shot. I mean, he just a perfect kick, and he led the charge for the Scots. The Scott defense is going to have to rise up. Again, Midway's has great field position, but I love the call right there by Coach Allen.
From their own 48-yard line, Glazeman will toss it right to Claiborne. Claiborne looking for the edge.
Good pursuit.
He's not going to get it. Great lateral movement, as well as Joseph Sweeney coming up from his cornerback spot.
And Brian, before the break, you touched on the fact that Coach Don Woods and his staff have been so great all year long at making halftime adjustments. I fully expect they did the same here this afternoon.
Gain of 5. Glazeman will throw to the edge. And Midway has executed that play very well from start to finish today. Just a two-man game, fling it out to the edge. You've got another receiver making a block on the corner, and typically you're 5 to 10 yards downfield before that safety can come over and make the stop.
And the Scots have to respect the run game, so it's not like they can just put a whole bunch of people out wide.
This time they'll try it to the right. Matt Barge holding on for dear life as Treston Womack is hauled down.
Well, and you can see the weapons that Midway possesses. I mean, right there, you're not going to see Joseph Sweeney miss many tackles. He's a very physical player. And they've got weapons across the board. I mean, really, it's pick your poison.
4-yard pickup. Here's Claiborne into the center of that Highland Park defense, who holds. And it will be 3rd down and a couple for Midway on the first possession of the 3rd quarter, leading HP 36-17. Midway was 6 for 8 on 3rd down in the first half. Claiborne lowers his shoulder, and he's going to have the first down by about a yard.
And that offensive line right now, as you can tell, I mean, they are just so big and physical, and they are right now are coming off the football and just pushing the Scott defensive line back. When you do that, obviously, you know, you're going to be able to pick up 3 or 4 yards a pop no matter what.
They have converted on 5 consecutive 3rd down opportunities. Glaceman with a couple of shoulder fakes. And here he will airmail one intended for Joseph Ward.
But, you know, it's just the pace. I mean, they just go so fast. I mean, there's an incomplete pass right now. They're signaling the play in. They're going to get it in, let those linemen know what's going on, and they're going to snap the football.
This team ran 106 plays against Highland Park last year. 106 plays is a lot for a college game where they play 60 minutes. To do it in 48 is almost superhuman. 2nd and 10 for the 27. Scots need a stop.
There you go. Right here. Big play right here. Got a 3rd and long situation. Again, if you're able to come up with a stop, I mean, it would be a difficult field goal.
It'd be 44 yards
achieve.
from right here.
Absolutely. This is a huge play here for the Scots.
And, of course, it's Joseph Ward. Everybody's got their eye on, split out wide to the right.
Pressure off the edge. Glaceman steps away from it, and that carried Ward out of bounds.
And he had him. Ward ran a beautiful route. He ran like what was going to look like a skinny post. He stopped on a dime and then came back outside. And really, quite frankly, Glaceman just threw a bad ball. That was just a really poor pass. Ward had
Midway, going to decline. 4th down.
So we have a 4th down situation. Again, Brian, you mentioned it. Looks like it's going to be about a 44-yard field goal. But, hey, no matter what happens right here, give credit to the Scott defense. That's a big hold. And if they can force a missed field goal right here, boy, I tell you, they ought to be absolutely going crazy coming off the field and on the sideline, because that would be a huge stop with Midway starting with such great field position.
This is right on the edge of Jackson Smith's longest make of the season. He made one from 45 earlier this year. This one's going to be about a yard shy of that. From 44.
No,
sir.
All right.
A little bit of a knuckleball that time.
I mean, like right there, you got to be going crazy. Look at him. And Petroselli, he's always kind of been that guy to show a lot of emotion. He recognizes the fact that that's a huge stop. The Scott sideline, the fans, they need to be going crazy right now because, again, Midway started with the ball, and Brian, you may have it over there on about their own 48-yard line.
48.
There you go. I mean, that's a big hold right there. I mean, the momentum kind of swings back on the way of the Scots. They get a stop defensively. Got to feel good about that.
Got to capitalize now on what your defense has done.
Absolutely.
1st and 10 for the Scots on their own 27. Not even 2 minutes into the 3rd. HP's defense has forced a missed field goal.
Scots go back to the pistol.
Allen flings left quickly. The pass is low and incomplete, intended for Cup.
Probably wouldn't have been a whole lot there anyway.
Second down in the same 10. Exactly 10 minutes remaining in the 3rd. Highland Park trailing Midway 36-17, looking to extend their season to the 3rd round.
They are really challenging these receivers on the outside.
Allen wants it over the middle. Pass is nearly intercepted.
What you're seeing, and we saw it in the whole first half, is basically cover 0. They don't put any safeties deep, playing half the field on the outside. It is a true one-on-one.
Well, and I'll tell you, the DBs are playing very physical. I mean, the receiving corps for Highland Park's having a tough time just getting off the line of scrimmage. I mean, they're playing very, very physical. We knew that coming in, especially on the edge. The 2 outside receivers who really today, quite frankly, have been a non-factor with the exception of the big play by Tui. They've really been a non-factor, and a lot of that's because of the cover corners for Midway.
HP needs the 37-yard line, 10 yards away. Low snap. Allen steps up. He'll scramble. Still driving those legs, and with second effort, he's going to be right on the stick.
I think he picked it up. Huge. What an outstanding run right there by Henry Allen.
Wow.
That's a huge play, and it didn't look like he was going to be able to, but you can just see in sheer effort, he picks up that first down. What a run by Henry.
That's what Henry Allen brings. He's got the guts, the determination, and just a great effort right there.
But, Miles, you've talked about this all year. He's always been fighting an uphill battle. Been
That's
a
right.
C-teamer, B-teamer, and, didn't have the opportunity to start on varsity till his senior year. He's just been fighting that uphill battle. A lot of heart out of Henry Allen.
Stretch handoff to Deeb. Deeb looking for room on the left side. He'll pick up about 4. And I just circled that conversion there on third down. On third down and 10, Henry Allen picking it up with his legs. If the Scotties are able to come back and pull even or take the lead here, that's going to be one of the critical plays in this contest. Stephen D picked up 4 on first down.
I like that first down call right there. Pick up 4 or 5 yards. Again, second and short, second and medium. You can handle that.
And that's a little stretch play. They've done some different things to get that run game working.
They'll go play action off that look. Throws across the body. Caught. Jeff Cupp had to reach back behind him to pull that in, but he'll have first down yardage into Midway territory.
That was an outstanding throw by Henry Allen right here. On the move, he takes a big hit and was able to thread the needle in there to Jeff Cupp.
Well, just in the face of just sheer pressure. He got lit up right there, and he just throws a dart on the money. Really nice throw there by Henry Allen.
Pickup of 15 for the first down. On the Midway side of the field at the 46-yard line as we roll under 8.5 minutes remaining in the third. Scott's trailing 36-17. Allen with good time.
Beautiful.
Throws left wide open. Chris Buell.
Henry Allen has really given the Scots a chance to win today. They knew that they needed a big game from him. They're not getting a lot in their run game right now, and Henry has given the Scots a chance.
I want to make 2 points on that play specifically. Number 1, an outstanding route run by Chris Buell. Number 2, the offensive line did a phenomenal job of giving Henry time, allowing him to step up in the pocket. Outstanding job by the O-line and Chris Buell.
That one a pickup of 19. First and 10 Scots.
Well, it's nice to see Buell getting the flow of things as well.
Trucking to the Midway 27. Allen handoff to Deeb. He's got Shellmeyer blocking in front of him. Just paving the road to the left edge where Deeb will be put down about a yard shy of the first down.
And Miles, what a block by Shellmeyer.
Oh, man, look at him manhandle his man right there.
Just absolutely just wore him out. What a sophomore for the Scots.
Shellmeyer's got so much upside, probably more than anybody on the football team for Highland Park. And talk with James Farnsley and mention Thomas Shellmeyer, and his eyes just light up with the promise of this youngster.
Second down and 1. Allen pulls it back. Wants the money shot. Incomplete. Looking for Kemp Sauer.
Well, and you saw just the savvy of the corners right there. That corner on the edge, and I'm having a hard time picking up his number. Looks like it could be potentially number 19 over there. I can't quite make out that number, but I'll tell you, he did a nice job. He peels off of Dooley and goes back there and really helps out on what a play that looked like could be wide open for Sauer.
Yeah, that was Artez Reimer, the right corner. The other corner, Day Walker, a pledge to SMU, and he's been lined up opposite Chris Buell all game. He's a big-time player in his own right.
9th play of the drive. 3rd and 1 from the 18. Fling it to the left. The Scots will have the first down as Chris Buell with another grab.
Well, Buell is so physical in his own right. You see right here, he makes the catch, and then look how physical he is. And we talk a lot about these kids that play lacrosse and they're going to play at the next level. One thing I can tell you about these guys that play lacrosse is they are tough. Man, they are tough. Lacrosse, I don't know a lot about it, but that must be a tough sport.
The Scots were 1 for 6 on third down. We said in the latter stages of the first half that was the difference in the game. HP is 2 for 2 on this drive. They've got first and goal with the sticks down at the 10. Man in motion is Cupp. Allen fakes right, looks left, nothing materializing. Henry's got to get rid of it. He's sacked. All the way back near the 25-yard line.
That's where that clock needs to go off in your head and realize, hey, I got pressure coming from the backside. Frankly, Henry did well to hold on to the football right there. He tried to check out Chris Buell, who's being blanketed by Day Walker. Tremendous coverage over there on that side. And then Henry obviously took the sack for a huge 14-yard loss.
Albert McGowan on the sack. And now it's 2nd and goal from the 24.
That's one of the things that quarterback for Midway has done very well, throw the ball away when it's not there.
Allen throws left side, looking for Chris Buell. Buell got it for a touchdown!
Unbelievable. I mean, just an outstanding catch right there, and a physical natured catch right there by Chris Buell. And I'll tell you right now, Miles, I was going to lose it if they would have thrown a flag right there on Buell, because they've let Ward for Midway play very physical all day long. And I love the fact that they kept the flag in their pocket. Look, you see a little tiny shove right there and a big-time play for the Scots. And let me tell you something, they had to have it. They had to have it.
We talked about it in the open. It's important for the receivers on the outside to win in one-on-one situations, and that's exactly what Chris Buell did.
Will Moore on to attempt the PAT. His kick is good, and here come the Scots. 6:07 left in the third. HP pulls to within 12, 36-24. So what did the script look like here in the third quarter, Miles Dunklin? Get a stop, check. Defense got it done. Offense, get the ball, drive the field, score points, check. So far, so good for the Scots.
Big-time gut check right there for Henry Allen in the offense, and he came through, delivered the ball on some big-time plays right there, and that was a big drive for Chris Buell, who really didn't have it going in the first half, and they went to him right there. What I liked about that last play from Henry and Chris was it was a double move. Day Walker did not bite at all. He sat back, was waiting for that the whole way, and Henry just said, you know, I'm going to trust my guy to go up and make a play, and he came through for him.
You just took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly right. Chris Buell has had a stellar senior season. It's exactly what Henry was thinking is, hey, I got to throw it up, and I just got to trust the fact that Chris Buell's going to go make a dadgum play. It's exactly what he does. 9
touchdowns now on the season for Chris Buell. That's touchdown toss number 23. Henry Allen's got 2 today. Jackson Hubbard has it teed up, and here we go. This one more of a line drive kick. It'll be taken inside the 10-yard line. Great tackle there on special teams.
Zachary
to make the stop. That's right.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Midway's done a really good job in kick return, and they're going to spring one if this game keeps going on like this. Big holes to run through for some explosive returners.
Midway has had great field position pretty much every drive except one that started at the 2 and ended up with a Glazman fumble in the end zone that was pounced on by John House. 36-24. Can the defense get another stop? Put some pressure on this Midway team. Claiborne on the handoff. He is a strong runner, just putting 2 hands on that thing and driving forward.
Well, when I talked to Matt Barge last night, saw him at the basketball game and said, hey, give me a comp for Claiborne. He said, man, I really don't have one. He's really a combination of a lot of guys we've seen this year. Got the power of Mahone or the speed of Mahone from Prosper. Got the power of Anthony Pegues.
This time Claiborne will bounce it around the left side. He'll have a first down.
And we saw Mahone in this very building in that situation, Coach Cunningham, run out of bounds. And right here you see Claiborne deliver the blow at the end of the play. This is a tough young man. It would have been very easy for him to just take a sidestep out of bounds, live to play another down, but he finished.
Pickup of 8 and a first down right at the 50. Sling it out to the right. Claiborne this time via the catch. Very patient. He'll be shouldered out of bounds by Joseph Sweeney after a gain of about 5.
Scott seemed to be catching on a little bit more as to how to defend that play, and they had a couple guys rotating in that direction, rolled the coverage that way right as that play was about to start.
Give him 6 on the catch from Glazman. It is the Eric Claiborne show, and that's why. He needed 4, he got 6. Another first down inside the Scott 40.
We had a pretty good idea this was going to come in the second half, that the Scots were going to get a big-time dose of number 29, and it's up to the big guys up front and in the front 7 for Highland Park.
HP needs a turnover right now. They show pressure. Claiborne brought down by a shoestring tackle by, looked like John House. Might have saved a touchdown. If Claiborne busts out of that pressure, he might still be going.
Well, the Scots just don't have a chance to do any subbing either. You see those D linemen have their hands on their hips. They're tired, but they can't get them out of there because Midway goes so fast. There we go.
Turner Cox.
And now we'll get to third down.
penetration kills the run game. You're going to see Turner Cox flash into your screen right there and get him on the ground. That was a huge play on 2nd down to bring up a 3rd down and long right here for Midway.
Big play right here. Look at the Scott fans getting on their feet. They know, they recognize this is a huge play on a 3rd and 6.
From the 34. Glazeman puts a man in motion. He'll throw right. Pass is caught for a 1st down. That's a D1 play right there by Joseph Ward.
Boys, you just got to, again, we've said this quite a few times, got to tip your cap. I mean, that's just a 6-7 yard stop route. Ball is put right on the money in a nice route run. And I'll tell you, we really got away with one right there because he was just about able to break that one and score. Oh.
Just a ridiculous block on the edge right there on John House.
John House just got absolutely, he didn't even see it coming. Yeah, that was a tough one, and he hops right back up.
But you can see this is another different personnel group that we haven't seen. They got a tight end in the game. They've got a couple of H-backs, and they're just very multiple.
Midway just killing clock as we're already under 3:45 remaining in the 3rd. Here's Glazeman with a shoulder fake. Throws right side. Caught. Goodness gracious.
I mean, unbelievable. Are they going to say he's down or no? They're going to give it to him. That's a touchdown, and what a catch.
Well, we've said a lot, hey, great pass from Glazeman. Well, that wasn't a great pass. That one was tremendously underthrown as Ward had him beat, and Ward just still went up and made the play.
How does he catch that? I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, you'll see the replay. Sweeney's right there. It's like it went through Sweeney's body for him to make the catch. Unbelievable.
This time the Scots not able to turn the Panthers away. HP cannot trade touchdowns at this point with 3:33 left in the 3rd. They've fallen behind by 19 again, 43-24. Now Sweeney, he didn't turn his head, but he saw Joseph Ward's eyes getting big, so he threw his arms up to try to knock it down, and somehow the ball gets past the outstretched limb.
Yeah, you're right, Miles. And Miles, you touched on it. Not a good throw at all. I mean, it was a really poor throw, and Sweeney got beat initially on the double move, and he makes his way back to the receiver, and I don't know how it happened. The ball looked like it went right through Sweeney's hands, and Ward, great concentration. He's able to make the play.
I'll say something the kids can relate to here. It's almost like you're playing Madden, and it's like a glitch. The ball went right through the defender. I mean, I don't know what Joe Sweeney's supposed to do about that one.
That's the play that typically results in your controller being thrown across the room or the game being reset.
And I guarantee that's exactly the way Joe Sweeney feels right now. He's played a good football game today, but
Joseph Ward has 3 touchdown catches.
He's balling out. I mean, this guy's the real deal.
He is, because let's be honest, all year long, nobody has thrown the ball at Joseph Sweeney, and quite frankly, they have attacked him all day long. I mean, they really have. I mean, it really I find that to be quite shocking.
So were those dance moves, by the way. Those were shocking.
Yeah, they were. I couldn't even continue to talk.
Short kick for JT Dooley. He'll take it at the 28.
Got a chance.
Dooley broke out. Look out. JT Dooley to the 50. Dooley in a foot race. JT Dooley is a memory. Touchdown, Scots.
Wow, what an answer. And they had to have it. Again, Brian, you touched on the fact that, Midway ate up a lot of clock there on that drive. The Scots had to have it. What an answer. Quick kicking the football in a pooch style to JT Dooley.
Well, JT Dooley's an outstanding athlete. This is a track star. This is a tremendous athlete overall. And when you talk to the coaches of Highland Park and say, hey, who's two or three best athletes on the team?
Oh, he's up there.
JT Dooley is absolutely in the conversation. He's as good an athlete as there is out there on the field right there. And you saw it. Once he got in the open field, look at this move on the kicker. No chance.
Well, he can fly. He can flat go. He just ran away from him.
Kicker got embarrassed right there. Yeah. That was just a tough spot right there in the open field with JT Dooley.
The Scotties will not go away.
The only downside is your defense is right back on the field. But let me tell you
That's
something.
What your defense says, hey, guys, I mean, this is cool and all. I mean, I'm glad this happened.
They'll take it. They'll take it right now. I guarantee you. That was a huge answer and one that the Scots had to have. Boy, I'll tell you, how big would a turnover be right now? I'm going to make the call. If the Scots can somehow find a way to strip a football out or get a pick or something and get a turnover, that would just be massive.
Well, Coach, here's the other thing you touched on. No quitting the Highland Park Scots. And if Waco Midway came out and thought at halftime, hey, we're better than these guys. We're dominating them in the first half. They thought this was going to be an easy second half. they have another thing coming. This Highland Park Scott team is not about to roll over. Big time play by JT Dooley, who's really playing great. By the way, the last 3 weeks have probably been his best games of the season. Caught a deep ball last week. I know he's playing with a ton of confidence right now.
And what a cool experience for him, knowing that he scores, you know, at the place that he's at every Sunday when the Cowboys are at home. His dad coaches for the Cowboys. What a cool thing for him to be able to score a touchdown here.
Very cool.
Scott's got a little swag going on their sideline right now.
That's right.
Man, that's good to see. They know this game's far from being over.
Day Walker will take it on a hop.
Oh. Jackson Hubbard.
Jackson Hubbard has robbed Day Walker of about 2 touchdowns in this game.
Well, they've got something right now on the Scots in this kick return game, because there have been big holes each time, and they've been flirting with disaster.
Well, they had holes, but you know what? They weren't big enough that the Scots shouldn't have made the play. I mean, they had an opportunity right there, and they just overran it. They just didn't break down and make the tackle.
So, fantastic field position again for this Panther attack. They'll have it 1st and 10 right at the 50.
Well, that sun is beaming in right now.
Glaceman will toss it to the short side for Claiborne.
Great play by Sweeney. A lesser corner right there gets shoved back by the receiver. That play goes for 8 or 9 yards. Instead, Sweeney holds his ground. Very physical player, and that's what you got to like about him in terms of projecting him to the next level.
You're not going to run Joseph Sweeney over. You may lower your head, but you got something coming. I mean, look at that right there. It ain't going to happen.
Number 7 right there found out, Womack.
This time they'll toss it left for Claiborne. Dragged down from behind as John House and Turner Rajabian team up on the stop, but that'll be good for a 1st down.
I mean, it's very obvious that they see something with that play that they love. It's just a very simplistic, really just a glorified sweep play, the old school sweep play or smoke play, if you will.
Pickup of 11.
Another different alignment.
This time Glaceman drops back, airs it out. He's got Joseph Ward wide open. Doesn't get any easier than that. Joseph Ward has 4 receiving touchdowns in the game, and HP cannot get the stop as Midway's a point after touchdown here from hitting 50.
Well, this is, more window dressing offensively. I pointed out another different alignment. We've probably seen 20 different formations that they've lined up in through the course of the game, and that puts you, especially with how fast they go, you're trying to think on defense who needs to be on who, and that time they did not account for Joseph Ward. He split the safeties right down the middle of the field. Scots were off sides.
The most points the Scots had allowed in a game this year was 40 to Pulaski.
Well, Joseph Ward, win or lose, he needs a game ball today.
Well, that's a guy that you look at, he's got an offer from Utah State, and the only reason that he doesn't have some bigger dogs on him is because he's 5'9" and weighs 150 pounds. That's the entrance of a guy. If he's 6 foot or 6'1", he's probably going to Bama.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think he's probably going about 10 miles up the road to wide receiver U.
That's true.
That's right.
That's true.
And guess what? Waco Midway.
Says the Baylor fan.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. But, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, somebody at Baylor is going to take note of this game right here, and I wouldn't be shocked for a second if he doesn't end up in Waco next year.
They pulled Baylor pulled a receiver out of Waco Midway last season. So they're accustomed to recruiting from this school. Obviously, it's right in their backyard, and Midway continues to produce outstanding wideouts.
A lot of football left. We keep saying that, but the lot of football left is shrinking. 2:39 left in the third. Scots trailing by 19. They've gotten it down to 12 a handful of times, but Midway has responded each time. I think that ball might have been lost in the sun, as it didn't look like Stephen Deeb or Paxton Alexander got a beat on it.
The way the deep kick returns have been going for the Scots, they might as well just take it at the 25. Obviously, they returned a kick for a touchdown moments ago, but that was a pooch to the up man. Midway's been pinning them deep on the deep kicks. Scully Ginevine into the game for the very first time, a sophomore JV call-up. in the slot number 8.
From the 25, 1st and 10, Scots needing to respond once more. Allen steps up, throws as he's pressured. He'll dump it out to Stephen Deeb, who ducks through a midway tackle. And he'll take it across the 30-yard line to the 31 for a gain of 6.
Well, nice job just picking that football up off the turf. And that's one thing we haven't talked a whole lot about all year with Stephen Deeb, is how great his hands are. He's a great receiver out of the backfield.
Well, name something you want a running back to do, and Stephen Deeb does it well. He blocks, he catches the ball. He's got great awareness. Obviously a terrific runner as well.
Fling it left. That ball was perfectly placed to Jeff Cup as he could turn upfield and get the first down.
People kind of sleep on this, but that's a big part of the equation on those little bubble screens, is how the quarterback delivers the ball. And obviously, if you're able to catch the ball and not stop your stride, that goes a long way to making that a successful play. And Henry's really been humming those in there of late.
Under 2 minutes left, third quarter. Scots trail 50-31. High throw, Buell pulls it down. Jeff Cup blocking out on the edge as Buell hits the 45.
You know, again, Brian, you talked about this early in this game, that the game that we saw just before this one, which was Wiley East and Poteet. Poteet was down 15 in the fourth quarter and found a way to win. So if the Scots can go down and get points on the board right here, again, that's just cuts it to a 12-point game. Anything can happen.
2nd and 5 from the 44 as the Scots approach midfield.
This game is far from being over.
Allen fires left side. Caught!
That's Jeff Cup. And what the Scots did right there is they set up that play with the previous 2 bubble screens. And that time it was a bubble, but it was a wheel. And he just wheeled up the field, and it was good coverage, but a terrific pass right there from Henry Allen.
Perfect throw. Absolutely perfect throw, and outstanding route run and catch made by Cup.
Pickup of 31 as the Scots are inside the 25.
They did a great job of setting that up with the previous 2 plays.
Starting the option to the short side. Allen cuts upfield on his best run of the day.
Well, there's an old friend
Woo!
that we hadn't seen in a while.
Trips.
The option to the short side.
Trips on the wide side. They go option to the short side, and watch this right here. Watch this. Whoop! Wow. What a move right there by Henry Allen.
And he'll take it to the 10-yard line after the 14-yard gain. It's 1st and goal, Scots.
Henry Allen and these boys aren't done playing football yet.
No, there's too much pride and fight in the Highland Park Scots. I can promise you that.
Under 30 seconds to go as the Scots come to the line. 1st and goal from the 10. They'll send Stephen Deeb out to the right. They'll roll the pocket that way. Allen with loads of time. Allen will throw it away.
Good play by Henry.
Oh, nice job by the offensive line, and I know they rolled the pocket. Henry put a good move initially on the defender, and then he bought himself a little more time, and a good decision to throw the football out of bounds right there.
That'll stop the clock with 11 seconds to go.
Scully Genevine back in the slot. Made a ton of plays this year on the JV Blue.
HP will take a timeout as the play clock rolls down. Their
Timeout.
first of the second
Highland
half.
Park. That's their first timeout.
Back and forth we go. It was a 19-point lead for Midway. 36-17. The Scots have scored 14 points, but they've given up 14 points. We said a few minutes ago, Coach Cunningham, you can't have this holding serve bit at this point. Scott's going to have to get some stops.
They are. And so far, I mean, obviously we talked a lot about the fact that Midway was going to try to run the ball, and they've done so, but what they've done is they've run the ball effectively in order to set up the deep ball, and that's exactly what they've done with Ward, is sent him deep. They've hit a couple deep balls. The Scots are going to have to create a turnover, get a quick stop, something to that effect to get themselves back into this game. Again, you just cannot continue to trade punches.
We got some fans getting down here. Midway fans happy. The Scots looking to get some grins over on their side of the stands. Second down and goal from the 10. Allen fires left, looking for Buell. Defended by Day Walker. That pass too high. It'll be third down and goal with 5 seconds left in the third.
Little double move there by Chris. Actually put a hand up like he was running the post. But Day Walker has been really technically sound tonight. Not jumping all over anything. Done a great job staying home and not biting on that double move.
Scots are 3 for 8 in the game on third down, but they're 2 for 2 in the second half. Very important third down play. Allen. Great catch by Chris Buell, but the throw took him out of bounds. And that's the final play of the third quarter. It will be decision time for Randy Allen and the Scots. It'll be fourth down and goal from the 10 when we come back to AT&T Stadium. It's the area round of the 2015 UIO playoffs. After 3, Midway leads Highland Park 50-31. You're watching Highland Park Scots playoff football, brought to you by Game On Sports Productions. We go to the fourth at AT&T Stadium. Midway leading Highland Park 50-31, and the Scots will have a fourth down and goal play from the 12.
Now the interesting note here is if you kick a field goal, you do make it officially a 2-score game. Thoughts here, Coach Cunningham, on the move?
I think you go for it. I really do. No, I think you go for it. I mean, I think you're the thought here is that we've had a difficult time stopping them, and so I think you got to score 7 right here.
Well, the offense stays on the field. Fourth down and goal from the 10. Henry with the football. Steps up. He's going to try to run for it. Allen will be stopped shy of the goal line.
Well, and it looked like he had some room. It looked like, well, and Midway just closed in a hurry. And I don't believe that was a designed quarterback draw. I mean, he was definitely looking to his left. But, boy, they just closed in a hurry, and they were able to keep him out of the end zone.
Absolutely have to have the stop right here.
Well, in the first possession of the game for Midway, they were about a yard further back from where they are right now, and John House stripped the ball out, jumped on it in the end zone for a touchdown. HP needs some similar magic here with 11:52 left in the fourth, trailing 50-31 as HP is turned away inside the 5-yard line. And Midway brings out the Wildcat as Eric Claiborne takes the direct snap. Claiborne just lowers his shoulder and takes it outside the 5 to the 8. Picks up 5.
We talked about the speed he possesses, but Claiborne is a tough runner. I mean, you see he's always falling forward. He is a strong young man. And they're going to try to chew up as much of this clock as possible. We talk about the speed that they go offensively, but I would imagine at this point you'll see them try to at least run the play clock down underneath 10.
2nd down and 5 from the 8. Nothing fancy. Out to the 10.
Good job by Josh Block right there as he really just pushed the blocker right back into his own man. That time he kind of tripped over his own blockers. They had 2 upbacks there on the left side. So they've got really not a front 5. They're bringing 6, 7 blockers at you sometimes on those run plays. This is a huge play upcoming here.
If the Scots want to have a shot at coming back in this one, they need to stop right here. 3rd down and 3. You'd think after a punt you'd get good field position, trailing by 19. Glazeman back in. Fake the end around. Glazeman will look to get it with his legs, and he will. Needed 3, got 4.
Nice solo tackle by John House.
Yeah, they just rolled the pocket, and really that was just one of those things. They said if it's not wide open, just pick up what you can and just go get that 1st down, and let's keep the chains moving. There was just nothing that he saw, Glazeman, and he was able to get out there and pick up the 1st down. Nice call there for Midway.
Ball's on the ground.
Oh.
Glazeman able to just dive on top of it.
And
Josh
boys,
Block was busting in from the edge.
Yeah, boys, I'm sorry I just yelled in your ear, but, man, when I see a ball on the ground like that, that'd just be what a turn of events that might be for the Scots. And Glazeman's going to go to the sideline.
I was going to say, he's nicked up right now. I think it happened on the previous play.
Tanner Mordecai is the backup. And now he's going to have a 2nd and 15 play from the 8. Welcome to the game, kid. And they're going to let him keep the ball himself out across the 10 near the original line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down and long here for Midway. Still just under 10 minutes remaining. Scots can get a stop. Midway is 7 for 10 on 3rd down today.
Have to have it right here. An absolute must.
Mordecai, they're going to let him sling it. Caught. Too much Joseph Ward today.
Yep, you said it. You're right. I mean, he's just been absolutely incredible. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I got to believe he is closing in on 300 yards receiving, if not over that mark already.
Well, here's the thing. They've actually done a really good job of defending this team outside of number 9. I mean, Claiborne's had a nice day, but he hasn't exactly gone off. And other than Joseph Ward, the Scots are right in this thing. Unfortunately, he has landed a number of big haymakers.
Well, and how about Mordecai coming in? I mean, he's a sophomore. There's your starting quarterback the next 2 years for Midway. I mean, and they're certainly not in a hurry to get Glazeman back into this football game. I guess they feel very comfortable with what Mordecai can bring to the table.
And by the way, they lost a Division I quarterback last season. So these guys just continue to pump out talent.
This is a Midway program in the last 5 years. Last year they went to the 3rd round. They were beaten by Spring 46-45. In 2012 they went to the regional final. In 2011 this program lost the state championship game. This is one of Central Texas' premier programs.
Well, and this is just when you just have that sick feeling in your pit right now. If you're Highland Park, you're down 19. There's 8 minutes to go, and you're just sitting there, and there's just very little you can do. You're just watching the clock just tick and tick and tick, and the defense is out there playing their hearts out. I can't imagine how many plays they've actually been on the field here this afternoon, but it's been a massive amount. They're exhausted. They're playing hard, and, man, they just can't get off the field right now.
Another chance here, 3rd down and 5.
3rd downs have been the key for this offense.
Mordecai with the pump fake. He's in trouble. He's sacked.
Had to have it. Absolutely had to have it. Now they're going to punt the football, and you got to get down there and score in a hurry if you're the Scots.
Great backside pursuit right here from Zach Snelling.
And I know that seems very simplistic, and I certainly didn't mean for it to sound that way. Everybody recognizes the fact that the Scots need to score in a hurry, but my point being is that I think you've got to take some shots. You know, we talked a lot about the run game and how it's got to be effective, and it does, but now's the point where you got to start taking some shots down the field if you're the Scots.
Stephen Deeb stands beyond the 30-yard line. A low punt. Deeb will get away from it. It takes a good midway roll. Will be killed at about the 26.
Yeah,
6:45 left.
I'm with you, Coach. This is right here where you know you're getting a lot of man coverage on the outside without safety help, and going to take a deep ball to 19 and 3 and let those guys go get it.
Well, right now you look at it on the big screen, and we're getting a look at this Midway defense. Man, they've got some horses out there. They're big. I mean, and I'm a little, quite frankly, I'm shocked. And I know they played a tough non-district schedule, but I'm a little bit shocked that they lost those first three games. And I know it's early in the year, a lot of things can happen, but my goodness, they've got some big, good-looking athletic kids out there defensively.
1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. Allen steps up. Intended for Stephen Deeb, incomplete.
Well, they got the protection right there to do whatever they wanted to do. Obviously, Deeb dropped the football right there. He says that one's on me, but good job by the offensive line.
Second down at the same 10. 6:38 to go in the fourth. 50-31 Midway. Chris Buell in motion. As Allen puts it back in the holster. He'll scramble.
You know, at the break, we talked about the fact that the Scots are going to go back down to 5A. But when you're playing at the 6A level in the state of Texas, when you get into the second round of the playoffs, guys, I don't care who you're playing, the teams are going to be not only very athletic, very big, very physical, very well coached. I mean, I could just continue to go. I mean, they're just good, especially at this level. You're talking about the mecca of high school football right here, right now.
3rd down and 8 from the 28 as we roll under 6 minutes remaining in the fourth. Scots with 0 margin for error, trailing by 19, 50-31. Here's Allen. He's got a pocket. Throws near side, caught, and then Chris Buell lost it, then picked it up again.
Yeah, they're going to give him the catch, and they should. He dropped the ball. I mean, he caught it, and then he lost it for a fumble, and then he recovers it again. A really nice route run there by Buell.
It was a double move. He faked the post, went back to the outside, and then a great job by the offensive line for Highland Park, giving Henry the time to make that throw.
Now the funny thing is, in the NFL, they call that an incomplete pass.
Absolutely.
Well, and I'll tell you, they may have a good point, because I think that one very well could have been, but we will take it.
Scots needed a break. They may have gotten one right there. Allen throws for Buell again, another catch.
That's basically the exact same play. It's a double move.
Day Walker stuck him too, and Buell hung on.
Well, Chris Buell's a tough young man. Tough, physical. I'll tell you, I am so thrilled for him to be able to go to the next level and play lacrosse at the Air Force Academy. And it's, you know, when you know that a young man like that is going to an academy and eventually is going to be serving our country, you know we're in good hands.
Picked up 15 on that play. 1st and 10 from the 35. 5.5 minutes remaining. Wants it all. Buell had a step.
I think Buell might have
pulled up lame there.
It was a press coverage out here with Day Walker.
I think
and Buell absolutely burned him off the line. That should have been a touchdown, and Buell came up lame. That's a really bad break for the Scots.
It is, and I think he's cramping up. I mean, you're in this indoor setting. It's warm in here, boys. I mean, you would think they would have the AC flowing. It'd be cool, but it's not. It's warm, and I think he cramped up.
That really hurt. That should have been a touchdown.
Well, he had him beat.
Oh, badly.
What a tremendous route run right there by Buell.
He just had a great release at the line of scrimmage is what made that play. Day Walker got burned there in press coverage.
He's replaced by Jack Toohey, 2nd and the same 10 from the 35. Allen throws quickly into the slot for Jeff Cupp.
You know, Henry's more comfortable throwing to the left. That's something we've noticed all year, definitely. But right now they have something over here. They're picking on Day Walker.
Problem is that clock is just continuing to tick away.
This is a spot where you got to think about throwing this thing into the end zone. You got to score quick. Waco Midway is more than content to allow the Scots to score, but take 5 minutes to do it. Allen drops back. Throw long, they will. That is perfect defensive coverage. Out there on the edge by Artez Reimer.
JT Dooley had a step. He's got deceptive speed, does Dooley.
Boy, that's good. That's just a good defensive play right there.
Go back to that play where Chris Buell came up lane. That should have been a touchdown.
Well, the Scots clinging to hope. 4th down and 7 from the 32. They'll obviously go for it.
This is your game.
Can the Scots find an answer when they've got to have it? Allen throws, incomplete, and HP will turn it over on downs.
You know, Midway's just playing with so much confidence right now, and their defense is big, physical, fast, and their corners are really good. I mean, you know, you're talking about a talented offensive bunch in Highland Park, and I'll tell you, they have just had very little to work with here today. I mean, you're talking about a defensive touchdown, a return touchdown on a kickoff. I mean, they just have not had a lot to work with. Henry seems to have had pressure in his face for a lot of the day, and it's been tough.
Sam Glazeman back into the game, where I expect he will do a lot of this, which is hand the ball or toss it to Eric Clyburn.
Does a good job staying in bounds.
Well, and guys, we got to give credit. This defense has played their hearts out. They really have. They have just played their hearts out. They've been on the field a ton, and you see a lot of hands on hips, and they're flying around still trying to make plays.
Well, as you look, this was a roster that returned exactly 2 starters. And there was a thought, especially as you got through just 2 or 3 starters. What was it, Miles, 2 or 3?
Jack Sides, Hayden Schneiders, and Stephen Deeb.
There we go, 3 starters. I said that on purpose because I knew you'd correct me. 3 starters, so whether it's 2 or 3, it's not many. And after that Pulaski game, I think there were a lot of people that said, you know what, the Scots are due to take a step back this year. And HP came into this game with a 9-game winning streak. And they came in here and took on a Waco Midway team that is pretty salty. And I don't know if Midway is going to get Lake Travis or Spring Westfield next week, but
good luck.
Either one of those teams is going to have their handful, because this is a team with a lot of talent. And Midway went to the 3rd round last year, lost by a single point to Spring. So they know what it's like to go deep in the playoffs. And as we talked a little bit during halftime, when the Scots moved to 6A, a lot of the people were sort of, giving it the evil scientist, getting the fingers twiddling, saying, all right, this is, now the Scots are going to get a little bit of what they've given to teams in the 5A classification, and that was absolutely not the case, as the Scots are going to win double-digit games in both years in the 6A class.
I've talked to a lot of these guys this year, and I couldn't be more proud of this group, and they've represented Highland Park with all the class and dignity in the world. These guys have done a tremendous job of carrying on that brand and the excellence that playing football for Highland Park represents. And go back to what we talked about last week. They haven't lost more than 1 regular season game in how long? I mean, that's just extremely difficult to do, the consistency.
Well, Brian, you sent us a text this week, and one thing that I will say is I don't care who all is in Division II in the 6A level. Good luck when you eventually see a team that I think is going to be very, very difficult to beat, and that is Katy.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian, the text you sent us was Katy has given up, and stay with me here, folks, a total this year of 18 points on defense. That is absolutely unbelievable.
Now, they took on Cy Ranch yesterday, who, if you remember, lost to Allen in the state championship game last year. And I know Cy Ranch scored at least 30 points on him, but Katy was able to win. So that was a battle of heavyweights, and there were people that had hoped that Katy was going to end up going Division I, because they could have ended up taking on Allen in a potential state championship game, who Allen barely got by DeSoto.
I would have loved to have seen
year,
that game.
and it didn't quite work out that way.
Well, that's just a testament. I mean, you're talking about Cy Ranch and Katy, DeSoto and Allen. These are two of the, some of the best programs
in the nation
that high school football has to offer, period. And they're matching up in the 2nd round. And so, just because you go out in the 2nd round doesn't mean you're not a heck of a football team.
I agree.
And DeSoto and Highland Park and Cy Ranch, those teams have a lot to be proud of. And there's more than one winner in high school football.
Well, there were a lot of winners. Let me tell you where they were. It was on the crew of this Game On Sports Productions team because, you know, you hear us blathering on all season long, but you don't see all of the folks doing the twisting and tweaking of knobs and shooting of video and laying of cables and pulling of trailers and all that stuff that have been so long. We want to take an opportunity here to recognize the members of this team. We had a lot of folks on camera this year. Mr. John Knoll, Randy Moothart, Silviano Moncada, Ben Osigian, Elliot Miller did a fantastic job all year long. Our technical director was Bill McCarthy. Running the replay was Paul Gleason. Brandon Groppe brought you graphics all season long. Our production assistant was Matthew Spencer. Our chief engineer up here in the booth with us today is Daryl Newman. And of course, our fearless leader, the great Fred Garner, a guy that typically was leaving games at Highlander Stadium about 4 o'clock every morning, the day after a game aired. This guy was doing everything. He gets us where we need to be, and just a great guy, always smiling, and it is a lot of fun to work for him. So I don't say that only because we hope to be brought back next year, but Fred's just an awesome guy, and as he's laughing behind us. But just a really terrific team, and it's been a terrific team here for the Highland Park Scots this year as Glaceman takes a knee. 50-31 is going to be the final today. There's going to be some heads hanging on the Highland Park sideline, but there's no reason for it, as these guys were, by many, written off about 3 games in after Pulaski came in and gave them a pretty good beating. But those guys bounce back. You go undefeated in district play. You win the district championship. You know, you look at, in district play, this was a team that lost all of 1 game in 2 years. So I can imagine the Mesquite Horns of the world and the Pierces and the Richardsons are going to be glad to see the Highland Park Scots moving back down to the 5A classification. It's a great season for Highland Park, but it ends today as Midway ends the Scots season. 50-31 is the final. HP finishes 10-1 on the season. The Midway Panthers have now won 9 in a row, and they'll move on to the Region 2 semifinals.
And, you know, Brian, this is something I always like to talk about at the end of the season is that, you know, and by the way, it's fitting that Henry Allen and Jack Sides are the first 2 guys in that line. Tremendous leaders that this coaching staff said this is the best leadership they've had in a long time here at Highland Park. But, you know, a lot of these guys on the Scott sideline right now, this is the end of a career. And these guys, since they've been 7 or 8 years old, they've identified themselves as, you know, I'm a football player. And today, you know, that comes to an end. And it's just a really, you know, beautiful and emotional thing to watch these young men who have poured their heart and soul into this thing. And kind of in one fell swoop, it's over.
As we look ahead, though, a lot to be excited about for the Scots program. You know, what did we see this year? You've got some rock-solid guys on that offensive line. Thomas Shellmeyer, you look out there, and he looks like a grown man. He's a sophomore. So you got a lot of Thomas Shellmeyer coming back. Harrison Mursky will be a senior, so you've really got the left side of that offensive line locked in for another season. Gray Giddens, a guy who sort of moved into the starting lineup, played very well.
They're certainly going to miss Jack Sides,
sure.
But you also, you know, Giffen had a lot of starting time this year on the right side of the offensive line. The Scots bring a good amount of that group back.
You look at the receiving corps, you're going to have J.T. Dooley back. Jack Toohey's going to be back as well. Jack missed most of the regular season with injury, came back and was certainly a factor. Had a big game against Nimitz last week. And then
Parker Alexander, by the way, is a guy who's going to be back. He's been hurt. When you look at the running back position, Jack Kosmetsky, that's a dynamic athlete. You're also going to have Parker playing that position next year. Michael Clark is a guy that a lot of people around this program are excited about the quarterback position.
You know, Henry Allen, his career ends today. He had a really nice season. You know, his 1 year as the Highland Park starting quarterback, threw for over 2,100 yards. He'll finish with 23 touchdowns. Stephen Deeb, you know, I think you mentioned earlier in the season, Miles, that Highland Park has never had a running back recruited to play college. And that's going to end this year because Stephen Deeb is going to end up going somewhere to play college football. Lots to be excited about on the defensive side of the football as well. Bennett Brock and John House, a couple of your leaders, are going to be back. You'll have Matt Gamm back as well as Luke Bland. A lot to be excited about. Turner Cox. But just not quite enough for the Scots today. They fall. A brave effort for HP, but it falls short. 50-31. We'd like to thank everyone that made this broadcast possible, the whole crew we ran through just a moment ago, but my partners in crime up here, guys, you make this fun to do. And the three-man booth doesn't always work, and I think we did a great job with it this year. A lot of fun. Just a real pleasure to work with you guys. Coach Eric Cunningham, Miles Dunklin, fantastic job. Let's do this again next season for the entire Game On Sports Productions crew. It's been a great season. We'll see you next year. 50-31 is the final. I'm Brian Sutcliffe. So long, everybody.